Tonight, a sellout crowd. The biggest games in school history. Bradley Van Pelt and the Colorado State Rams are in town, energized by their powerful offense. For both teams, bowl bids and title hopes are on the line tonight. It's College Football Friday in the desert. The ESPN family of networks celebrating 20 years of college football coverage welcomes you to University Stadium in Albuquerque for a very important Mountain West Conference game between the Colorado State Rams and the New Mexico Lobos. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to College Football Friday. I'm Sean McDonough, delighted to have you with us. As you saw in the graphic, these two teams with identical records of 5-4, and as a result, a disappointing season for each. These were the two teams picked to finish at the top of the Mountain West Conference standings in the preseason polls. Colorado State picked to finish first, New Mexico second, but at the moment, they're tied with identical records of 2-2 in conference play, both looking up at Utah, the conference leader, and Air Force. I'm joined, as always, by Mike Golick and Rod Gilmore. And, gentlemen, a very important game for both of these teams tonight with an eye on the conference standings and a possible bowl bid.
Yeah, New Mexico certainly has a lot on, especially the seniors. They've lost their last 5 to Colorado State. The senior class may go through and not win a game against them. They also know they need this win because they know Colorado State has a better national reputation, and they need this win to get maybe over the hump and get that bowl bid if they get enough wins.
A pretty emotional game for New Mexico. Colorado State's got to find a way to match it. They didn't do that with Wyoming last week. They have to do it tonight, but they also have to find a way to get points. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Bradley Van Pelt, oh man, is he something for Colorado State. 2 years ago, Mike, I didn't think he was much of a quarterback. What about now?
Well, he's growing into the position. He's throwing more. He's not pulling it down as quickly. Let me tell you, he may be the last gunslinger in the land. He just doesn't care. He'll put his head down. He'll run over. He's built like a linebacker, but he's starting to make the smart throw as well. He won't just throw his body all the time. He'll understand he has to make the play with his arms sometimes, not just his feet.
Well, he's going to be a real challenge for a defense that's a little bit funky for New Mexico. They may not be able to come after him as much as they like.
The Lobos taking the field, trying to get that elusive victory against Colorado State. The opening kickoff from Albuquerque right after this.
Sure. Go out there and show them what Colorado State's all about. Remember who you're playing for. You're playing for not only yourself and your team, everybody who wore this damn thing. So let's get out there, get ready to go, play it hard. You got, go ahead, 12 minutes to get yourselves ready to go here, okay? Get your stuff done, get what you got to get done.
And Sonny Lubick hopes his team can get it done tonight here at University Stadium on a beautiful 55-degree night in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Down on the field, we're joined tonight by Dave Ryan.
All right, Sean, thanks so much. Head coach Sonny Lubick of Colorado State last week was both upset and shocked at the way his team came out of the locker room to begin the game up in Laramie against the University of Wyoming. He felt they absolutely were not mentally focused, didn't have that reckless abandon in their eyes that he wanted a team to have. So all week in meetings, they emphasized that very much, especially with the defense. He wants the D to go out tonight for his Rams to think about completely shutting down New Mexico, not about just hanging on, letting the offense win late in the game. All three facets of his team tonight, offense, defense, special teams. He wants them to take the attitude that one play could win the game and they control their own destiny. It's a critical Mountain West contest for his Rams. We'll see how they respond on the field, especially early in this first quarter.
Under his leadership, they've been the premier team in the Mountain West Conference. 6 conference titles won by Sonny Lubick in his 11 seasons at Colorado State. And Rocky Long in his 6th season as head coach at his alma mater, New Mexico. They won the toss and deferred, so Colorado State elected to receive the opening kickoff. It comes down short, and already the first big hit of the night. It was fielded by Kane Smaller, and he got buried immediately at the 24-yard line. 0 yards on the return. Bradley Van Pelt is the quarterback for Colorado State. He became the starter Game 4 of the 2001 season and has been the starter ever since. And a much improved passer. He's always been a terrific running threat. He's added an improved passing game to his repertoire to the point now where he's NFL quarterback prospect. On first down, nothing doing for Rashawn Sanders. He'll be the featured back tonight. They open with 2 wide receivers, an H-back and a tight end. Joel Dreesen injured tonight, so Alcancel is in for him. In up front, Michael Breisel is an emerging star at tackle. The best offensive lineman is Eric Piers, the other tackle. And the center, Dreyer, has been playing with a cast on his hand. That came off this week, and he is able to resort back to snapping with his right hand. He's been snapping left-handed. Pass is caught out in the near flat. Matt Bartz, the tight end, with a gain out near the 30-yard line. For New Mexico defensively, a front 3 of Rupp, Coulter, and Renteria. They are a disruptive force in this 3-3-5 defense. Strother, Goronski, and Spiegel are the linebackers. Spiegel playing with a lot of injuries. And in the secondary, Fulbright, Radcliffe, Wiley, Walton, and Payne. Fulbright, their best cover man. He'll likely be matched up with David Anderson most of the night. Third down from the 28. They need to make the 34. Blitz coming, and Van Pelt dumps it off again to Bartz. He has a first down and more. Out across the 40 to the 41-yard line. 2 catches on the opening possession for Bartz. That one good for a gain of 13.
Well, here's the guy to keep an eye on, Bradley Van Pelt. He has come a long way from his teammates even being shocked that he was going to finally be the quarterback. He could be a running back, he could be a linebacker, and he has really evolved, Rod, into more of a passer now. He reads so much better.
Well, he's the best running back on the field for Colorado State, and in the pocket, he has to make sure he doesn't make the mistake of not using his legs and standing in the pocket too long, because he is a fabulous runner, a thrower on the run.
The option to the right. Van Pelt keeps it, and he's out of bounds at the 43. Both coaching staff said the same thing about Van Pelt. He's their best running back. He's the quarterback, but he's really also their best running back, running threat.
Well, exactly. I mean, he runs through the tackle of Zach Rupp there, the defensive end. Remember, Van Pelt's 235 pounds, and he's going to shake some tackles. Not a lot of times the first man's going to bring him down, so they're going to try and get him in space with these quarterback sweeps and get him one-on-one with people who don't have a clear shot with him. He's going to put a move on him, shake him, run through him, and get the yards.
He's not a small quarterback at 225.
He is the son of Brad Van Pelt, the former All-Pro linebacker with the New York Giants. He showed his escapability there and takes off. First down and more across midfield. One man to beat now for Van Pelt. And he's run out of bounds inside the 15-yard line. They'll mark him out at the 10.
And his shoe sitting on the 35-yard line.
He did it with one
gain for Van Pelt.
Well, when you come on a blitz to get him, you better make sure you hit him flush, because he's too big and strong to arm tackle. He's just going to wipe you away, Mike.
That's the one thing he does when he pulls it down, when he's not going to pass it. Not a lot of times he scoots out to look to throw. He's going to tuck the ball and run. You're going to see the shoe come flying off, sits at the 35, and he doesn't care. And all the rest of the players know that he's going to run, so they're all hustling downfield to get a block.
He's got a wet foot now, because we were on the field before the game, and it was pretty wet on the field there.
Jarrell Malone made the tackle that saved the touchdown. And on first down from the 10-yard line, Sanders the ball carrier, and he's down to the 5. They've had a revolving group of running backs. They go out of the one-back set for the most part. And in recent years, or recent weeks rather, it's been Sanders who has separated himself from the other backs, including Marcus Houston, the highly touted transfer from Colorado. Second and goal. It is a goal-to-go situation for the Rams. An impressive opening drive. Sanders again, and not much that time. As a matter of fact, no gain on the play. It'll be third down and goal.
Well, it's going to be interesting against this New Mexico defense and the way they do it, the 3-3-5. They have people coming everywhere, so they're going to get their shots at Van Pelt. You've already seen them shake a couple of tackles. They have got to be able to wrap them up. They're going to have their opportunities. It's the defense that's only given up 74 yards a game on the ground. That's 5th in the nation, so they're going to get people to the ball. They just have to be able to bring them down.
If you're in New Mexico right now, you defend the back of the end zone, because in the red zone, Colorado State likes to get it to their guys back there.
Play action pass. Van Pelt got away. Now throws for the end zone, and it's almost intercepted. An incomplete pass. A great chance to pick it off for Billy Strother. Hard to tell who Van Pelt was throwing this to.
This is what I said. At first, we see the end of the play. It was a bad throw. Absolutely right. Should not have made that throw. Billy Strother's the one that almost picks it off. But Sidney Wiley had a chance to get Van Pelt in the backfield, but he shook him. And that's what I said. They're going to have their opportunities to get him. They've got to be able to bring him down.
Well, all his receivers were in the back of the end zone like we talked about, and all the red shirts were in front of them, those guys.
Jeff Babcock with a 22-yard field goal for the first points of the game. The junior from Tampa, out of Tampa Jesuit High School, who doubles as the punter, delivers for CSU, and a nice start for Sonny Lubick, the energetic 66-year-old coach. When we chatted to him yesterday, we said, "Are you a fixture now at CSU?" I mean, he's a legend there. They've named the field at Hughes Stadium after him. It's Sonny Lubick Field at Hughes Stadium. He said, "Well, I don't know if there'll be too many athletic directors looking for a 66-year-old coach to take over their program, and I love it here." He said, "I think this is."
What do you do to the field if he leaves? If they bring in another coach, what are you going to do?
You can't do that. Plus, you know, he may be 66, but he doesn't look it. This man runs, what, 4 miles,
4 miles a day? And what a delightful guy. In addition to being a great coach, and I mean, if you could try to list coaches around the country, guys, who have done a better job over the last decade than this man. And he took over a program that was really far down. They've been to only 2 bowl games in their history, and they've been to 7 in his first 10 seasons.
And it's all a domino effect. The more successful they are, the better the recruits come in, and kids love them. It's an excellent program. 4 miles a day?
Yeah.
I don't want to drive 4 miles a day.
I don't want to be self-serving, but he said to us last night, ESPN has really helped put our program on the map. They've played more Thursday night games than any other program in America, and he says the exposure has really benefited their recruiting. Good kickoff into the end zone by Kevin Mark. And the run back out to the 22-yard line. A 22-yard return, and here comes Casey Kelly, another former walk-on, now in his senior year from Portland, Oregon. 2 years ago in the game between these two teams here, he threw 5 interceptions. That is one of many memories against the Rams that he and his teammates would like to erase. As Mike said, for this group of seniors, the Rams are the only team in the Mountain West Conference they have not defeated at least once. They're looking to go deep on the first play, and they have it. And then the ball comes out at the 50-yard line, and it's recovered by, and it's an incomplete pass now, they rule. The Rams had recovered it as Jeff Floor came up with the football, but it's ruled an incomplete pass, and right after the play, Adrian Boyd comes off the field.
Well, and you know, they told us yesterday at New Mexico that they game planned this first play. They wanted a big one. They thought they could get a big one. They got it. Adrian Boyd was out there. The ball was a little bit low, and that, my friend,
that's a fumble.
Is a catch and a
fumble. Been a fumble. Boyd went off the field. He landed right on his shoulder. He went off with that, but that absolutely was a catch and a fumble.
What an ominous start. This is a New Mexico team that committed 6 turnovers last week in a 2-point loss to UNLV here in Albuquerque. Dontrell Moore with a nifty spin move near the line of scrimmage. He got free and got all the way out to the 37. A 15-yard pickup for the sophomore from Roswell, New Mexico. He is a part of the backfield with Adrian Byrd, the blocking fullback. Counter and Boyd are the receivers, and Penley, one of 3 tight ends we'll see tonight for the Lobos. A huge offensive line. They average 321 pounds across. Lensmeyer, the best of the group, and Cook, when we talk about huge, the center, is 6'7", 340 pounds.
You don't see many centers 6'7", 340, and he's got some excellent feet.
They're playing without a terrific tackle, Justin Colburn, tonight. Calvin McDonald taking his place. He's number 78. Big hole, and here is Moore again for another first down. Out to the 47, perhaps the 48-yard line, for a gain of 11 for Colorado State defensively. A good front 4, and Summersell, a sophomore, senior rather, an emerging talent, really coming into his own as a senior. Flora, Wood, and Hall are the starters at linebacker. In the secondary, it's Stratton, Mastropalo, Hayward, and Wynn. win an all-conference performer and an excellent return man as well. Out of the shotgun with 4 receivers spreading the formation. Casey Kelly with time and a receiver at the 45 of Colorado State. It's Dwight Powder, and he lunged for another yard or 2 to get very close to the first down marker. That's a 9-yard gain. Kelly to counter.
You know, you talked about the game against UNLV, that the 2-point loss with all the mistakes that they had. What was it, 5 dead ball penalties, 13 penalties, I believe, for the game, or in that area, and 6 turnovers. Well, Kelly threw for 408 yards in that game, a career high for him. He's got a strong arm, throws some interceptions. He's equal, 9 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, so has that issue a bit, but he has a gun to get it there.
Both teams trying to bounce back off heartbreaking losses. The Rams lost at Wyoming last week. The pitch to Moore. The first down and Moore out of bounds near the 35-yard line. Moore, a big part of the problem last week against UNLV. In the last 2 games, he's lost 3 fumbles. 2 of those came last week against UNLV.
I just want to be factual on last week. It was 9 penalties, 5 dead ball penalties against him. But yeah, then you talk about Moore, Rod. This is a guy who's had the little bit of fumbleitis.
Well, you know, you might be able to overcome penalties, and you might be able to overcome some fumbles, but you can't get by both.
Right.
And Moore is a cutback runner, and sometimes he doesn't protect the ball as well as you'd like to see a running back do it.
So many similarities between these 2 teams. The identical records, each coming off the tough loss. Each with a featured back who's had fumbling problems lately. That's the reason Marcus Houston, we will likely not see much action tonight. The catch made by Terrence Thomas. And he's down at the 28-yard line. Good throw by Kelly. It'll be 2nd down and 3.
Kind of a different drive here. Kelly spread the ball around a little bit. Some nice runs by Moore. We were looking at the Colorado State drive. It was Bradley Van Pelt running down the field or throwing down the field. This is much different drive. Certainly a lot more evenly spread.
Well, you talk about Van Pelt's development. How about Casey Kelly's? I mean, walk on and had trouble completing passes a couple years ago. He's on the money now.
Out of the I formation, the deep handoff. And Dontrell Moore has another first down to the 23-yard line. 1st and 10. Let's check in with Dave Ryan.
Well, Johnny Geisenbooth talked about Dontrell Moore and the fumble problems. Last year as a freshman, he coughed up the ball 8 times. Now, just once in the first 7 games this year, but in the past 2 games, 3, and 2 last week in the loss to UNLV. So in spring ball and in fall practice, they had this spandex cover on the ball, kind of a slippery surface to make sure he worked on ball protection. What do they say? Keep it riveted to the rib cage and make sure he doesn't cough it up. He's worked hard with ball protection, and his teammates have supported him quite a bit. Coaches this week didn't work with the spandex, but they did reinforce it.
Play action fake, and now Kelly will run. Showing that Van Pelt's not the only running quarterback in this game. Kelly knocked down at the 15-yard line. Coming up from the secondary, Dexter Wynn to make the tackle.
Did you see the way Rhino was holding that ball down there? Yeah. He's got to cover that point.
You got to cover the point.
You got to cover the point.
You got to put it to the rib cage. Bill Curry used to say that all the time. But you talk about a cutback runner, and the thing that can happen is the reason you cut back is because you see front side, there's nothing there. So you start the cutback. Sometimes your eyes don't get to the backside coming at you quick enough, and you take that shot from the backside as you're cutting back, and the ball pops loose.
Especially if you're not covering that point.
Yep. Come on, Rhino, you got to cover that point better, my friend.
Rams showing blitz, and flags are down with movement along the line. Terry Layden is the referee leading our Mountain West Conference officiating crew.
Dead ball. False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. It remains 2nd down.
Well, these are the top 2 offenses in the conference. New Mexico is 2nd, Colorado State 1st. 430 yards a game is New Mexico. It's pretty well even. 231 pass, 199 run. It kind of like this drive. I mean, this is basically like they do during the season.
We are going to see a lot of points tonight. I don't think there's any question about that.
It's good for everybody except if you're on the defenses.
They're 1 and 2 in yardage. Colorado State first. New Mexico is the highest scoring team in the conference, 32 points per game. Colorado State right behind at 31. Good throw by Kelly, and a good catch made by Zach Cressup an emerging tight end in recent weeks. He's a very good combination of blocking and receiving. When we spoke with Dan Dodd, the offensive coordinator, yesterday, he said Crespo has the best hands of anybody on the team.
But he settled down right in front of the linebacker in that two-deep zone they're trying to take advantage of. That linebacker typically flies out of there, Mike, to get deep, and then you could stop right in front of him, and that's why they went to Crespo right down the middle.
Crespo's from Gilbert, Arizona. Good for a first down at the 12-yard line. 10th play of the drive. The Rams leading 3-0 with 6.5 left in the first quarter. Each team has moved very crisply on the opening drive. Moore for a yard, and that's all. He had a great freshman season last year. Rushed for more than 1,100 yards. Only Terry Cawley of Connecticut and Maurice Clarett of Ohio State had more yards rushing than Dontrell Moore a year ago, and he's creeping up on 1,000 yards again this year.
Well, he was the man coming out of high school in New Mexico, and he was the top recruit, and a lot of places wanted him, and he decided to stay home.
How about also 9th in your class out of 267? He's got some smarts to go along with his football ability.
He's a Renaissance kind of guy.
His mom, an English teacher in high school in Roswell. Look out, Kelly hit from the blind side as he threw incomplete. Andre Summersell hit him in the back. We mentioned Calvin McDonald playing tackle tonight in place of Colburn, and Summersell working against McDonald, a concern for the coaches of New Mexico.
Yeah, that is a bad omen because he is a speed pass rusher coming off the edge on the backside. And the one thing New Mexico said they had to do was make sure they could protect the backside. Now they're going to have to give McDonald help over there, or it's going to be a long night for Kelly.
Third down. They can get a first down near the 2-yard line. Kelly steps up and is tripped up as he went across the 10-yard line. Chris Kiffin made the tackle. If that name sounds familiar, his dad, Monty Kiffin, is the defensive coordinator of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Colorado State has basically stolen Monty's defense.
Well,
they run the Buccaneer D.
Well, it wasn't really stolen so much as he kind of gave it to Sonny Lubick as a gift.
When Sonny was at Montana State and Monty Kiffin was the D coordinator at Nebraska, Sonny would go down there and basically glean everything off of him. That's what you see here.
Wes Zunker kicks the field goal, a 27-yarder. He's had a great year. He's missed only one field goal in 12 tries this season. Just more than 5 minutes left in the first quarter in Albuquerque. The Rams and Lobos tied at 3. We're back in Albuquerque. The Rams and Lobos tied at 3. That's 11 consecutive field goals made by Wes Zunker. A 68-yard drive for New Mexico. Each team moved well on its first possession but had to settle for a field goal. New Mexico, one of the bottom teams in the conference in kickoff coverage. They used the punter Tyler Goss to kick off, and he does not have the ability to kick it deep, so they very rarely get touchbacks. They have to cover every kickoff. This one caught by David Anderson and returned to the 35-yard line. A 7-yard return.
News College Football Friday, brought to you by SSX3. This time it's you against the mountain. And by Warner Brothers' new motion picture, Gothica, in theaters everywhere starting Friday, November 21st.
Hey, welcome back to Albuquerque. Sean McDonough with Rod Gilmore, Mike Golick, and Dave Ryan. Our producer, Scott Matthews. Our director, John McDonough, leading our College Football Friday crew. Colorado State and New Mexico tied at 3. Bradley Van Pelt and the offense on the field for the second time. 1st and 10 from their own 36-yard line. Play action pass. And the ball caught again by the tight end Matt Bartz for no gain on the play. College football Saturday tomorrow at 3:30. Great game of the Big Ten. Number 10 Iowa, number 14 Purdue. And at 7:45 on ESPN, Virginia Tech and Pittsburgh. Hard to figure out that Hokie team. bounces back from a loss to the West Virginia Mountaineers with a big win over Miami. Now Virginia Tech and Pittsburgh in control of their destinies in the Big East.
They had an argument, not so much on my radio show, with Mel Kiper Jr. about Heisman and who should be up, and he doesn't even have Larry Fitzgerald in there. He's going with the quarterback crew of Jason White and Phillip Rivers from North Carolina State. And I mentioned Larry Fitzgerald, and he says, you know, the quarterback has something to do, obviously, with every play and the numbers they have put up. Larry Fitzgerald, to me, from Pittsburgh, is the best player in the country.
Well, I think he's the best player, but I think Mel's point also is that Pittsburgh, a couple of losses, that's hurt them. That's hurt Fitzgerald in the run.
There was a little bit before that high snap. Looked like the left side of the offensive line was retreating. So if you're not involved in every play, you can't be the Heisman Trophy winner?
That's what I didn't understand so much. But if he's going to go with that argument,
5-yard penalty,
then how is Phillip Rivers there? They have, what, 3 losses?
Because he's a quarterback, and all quarterbacks get considered, no matter how many losses you have.
All I know is when you throw it to Larry Fitzgerald, he normally comes down with it, a lot of times in the end zone.
I'm with you on that. I agree. I think he is the best player in America. But I don't believe he's going to win the Heisman.
I don't either. He's a sophomore.
Yeah.
You know how that works.
You got to pay your dues.
He's supposed to be the best college football player in America, right?
I agree.
Doesn't say sophomore, senior, junior, quarterback,
Jason White's going to win.
You think so?
I think so.
Yeah, if Oklahoma wins out, yeah.
And he's played well. He has played well.
I'm with you. Right now, of course, there's a lot to go left in the season. I think Fitzgerald deserves it. Van Pelt sack. Back at the 22-yard line. The linebacker, Nick Spiegel, came in there on a blitz and had help from his mates as well.
It's pretty simple. You just bring more guys and they can block in one area. And Colorado State can't handle it. There you see Strother 7, and then you see Spiegel coming in. They occupy Strother, but they can't handle Spiegel.
Force him into a quick decision, and when he tries to pull the ball down, be a sure tackler.
Spiegel, a great student, and he has become an outstanding football player. His 28th career start tonight. Pass to the near side, dropped by Chris Pittman. And the Rams will punt. To go back to Spiegel, here's a guy playing with all kinds of injuries tonight. He has 5 stitches in his chin. He needed a special chin protector tonight to help him with that. He has an open wound in his right armpit. He has a problem with an infected boil that they had to lance and remove. So right now it's basically about a quarter-sized hole in his armpit that they've treated every day this week. And when they treated him, they've had to hold him down on the training table while he bites down on a mouth guard because there's so much pain involved in that process. And he's still playing with bruised ribs, an injury suffered against Utah that caused him to cough up blood.
And that's not it. There's more.
Flag down as this punt is returned out to the 42-yard line. A 49-yard punt, the 13-yard return by Dwight Counter.
And I think this is going to be a big one here. I think this is Colorado State.
Personal foul.
Is going to keep the ball.
Roughing the kicker.
So
it's a receiving team.
So Spiegel's going to have to go back on the field with his assortment of injuries.
And that's huge because it was just a 5-yard penalty.
Yep.
It was 4th down and 21. It would have been nowhere near the first down. Now it's automatic, and the Rams will keep the ball.
And it's a good call. Definitely roughing right into the leg, takes him out. Billy Strother, he knows it. He absolutely knows it. Looking right at the ref, sees him pulling for the flag.
Well, getting back to Spiegel and all the injuries, the other thing he had a bunch of turf burns on his arms for not wearing sleeves in a game when they played on some turf. And part of those burns got infected as well. And that was as painful as some of the other stuff he's had.
He's a linebacker. You have to have that stuff wrong with you.
From the 40 after the walk-off, Van Pelt spins back, throws across the field, and it's a first down into New Mexico territory. Ball caught by Rashawn Sanders for a 20-yard gain.
Here's what's interesting. Here's the respect Van Pelt has. When he's rolling out, watch Spiegel break down. He doesn't rush him. He's going to break down. Right here. All right. Let's watch him right here. Watch, he's going to break down instead of continuing to rush. That's respect that Van Pelt is going to take off. If Spiegel keeps going, he may interrupt the pass a little bit, but he broke down thinking Van Pelt was going to run.
And a year ago, I don't know that Van Pelt completes that pass.
Good point.
Just the second reception of the year for Sanders, a design running play for Van Pelt.
Oh, boy.
Well, when they talk about who's their best runner, there's an example of it right there. Down to the 29-yard line. A gain of 12. Here's Dave Ryan.
Well, Sean, he's such a punishing runner. It's fun to watch you on field level with Bradley Van Pelt. Now that we're in November, Bradley can get worn down late in games. So many plays are designed for him to run. Coach Sonny Lubick told us last night he'd like to make it 10 plays or less that are strictly designed for him to actually run the ball. Now, he knows plenty of times he'll break from the pocket, scramble like he did early in the first quarter on the long run. But they're worried about endurance, and late in the game, they won't have him running 2 and 3 times in a row.
2 tight ends in the game. The toss back to Sanders. And he gets nothing. Stopped at the line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
You know, we spent some time with Van Pelt last night, and he is a refreshing person to talk to. I mean, he's the kind of guy that will tell you like it is. He'll tell you the truth. And he's been chastised about that by, you know, coaches and the like. They want him to tone it down, but it hurts him. He likes to he can't do it any other way. This week he said, hey, I'm not a student athlete. I'm an athlete student. Yeah. I'm thinking about the next level. I'm not focusing on school. And boy, did that tick off some people.
How many university presidents are shaking their head at that one?
And how many other football players in America do you think feel the exact same way but just wouldn't say it? Most of them flagged down. There was movement along the line before the play, so the play doesn't count. Looked like Mike Brizell was guilty of movement before the snap. We should point out.
Dead ball. Full start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. It remains 2nd down.
The referee. Van Pelt is a good student. He has a 2.9 grade point average. He actually told us a pretty funny story last night. When he transferred after 1 year at Michigan State, he transferred with a 3.6.
Yeah.
Went to Fort Collins. Loved snowboarding. By his own admission, several days. Blew off practice during his year of sitting out as a transfer to go snowboarding. Had a 0.9 grade point average his first semester. Then he realized maybe the student part of it needs to come back in. He got a 3.3 the next semester. Now he's up to a 2.9 for a Kuhn.
Kind of Animal House.
Yeah, I was going to say, better than Butarski.
An excellent snowboarder. He thought about becoming a professional snowboarder. Under duress, he got it off to Eric Hill. Anderson trying to block for Hill, and Hill has a 1st down out of bounds at the 18-yard line. A 15-yard gain on the completion of the senior from Denver.
There's the patience, Rod, you were talking about. That now, before, when he saw a little bit of pressure coming at him, he was going to try and start looking around, see if he had an escape route. Here he hung in the pocket, and he made the throw. He knew it was coming at him. He knew he was going to get hit, but he saw his guy, and a nice throw, too. Let him on the run.
But, you know, he told us that he wasn't coached. He said he wasn't coached in high school. They told him just to throw the ball, and he said he wasn't coached at Michigan State. He took a knee in practice all the time and never threw the ball.
Here's Sanders. And nothing doing. Tackled by Marcus Parker, a backup end. He plays behind DJ Renteria. Parker's a sophomore from Garland, Texas.
Now, another reason Van Pelt left Michigan State is the fact that running back and linebacker were the possible positions for him, and he said, no, I'm going to be a quarterback. I want to play quarterback.
Isn't that what happened to his dad? His dad was a quarterback, and they made him a linebacker. Right. Went on to become an all-pro.
Dad ended up being a pretty good linebacker, though.
I think he'd be a pretty good safety or linebacker, but right now he's showing that he can play quarterback.
And we'll talk about him at the next level because he's starting to open some scouts' eyes as a quarterback, but he certainly is nowhere higher than the middle. He's going to be middle to late, but is it possible of a position change as well? I know he wouldn't like that, but we'll see.
Timeout Rams. They're driving in a 3-3 game. Everybody's a cameraman here in Albuquerque, and we thought maybe he was looking at the cheerleaders, but it does look like he actually has that camera pointed at game action.
Yeah, he does. He's safe.
2nd and 10. You're talking about Bradley Van Pelt, Mike and Rod. When we spoke with him last night, he said he wants to go to camp and at least have a chance. He says if it's obvious that I cannot be a quarterback in the NFL after I've demonstrated that to the NFL team, then sure, I'll go play another position if that's the way it turns out. But he wants to at least have the opportunity to prove whether he can or cannot do it. Pump fake, looking for Anderson, contact in the end zone, and the flag thrown.
Is he trying to act like he didn't do it? Did you see him throw his hands up like he didn't do it?
That was about as easy a pass interference call as you'll ever see against Jarrell Malone.
I mean, he was beat, so he saw the receiver looking back for the ball, so he just threw his hands up and runs into him.
And that is a pass that shows you Van Pelt has learned to have some
Pass
touch.
interference. Defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Never has there been an easier call.
Yeah, this is a post corner route. Malone bit on the post.
Come on,
and then
ref.
just mugs Anderson out there.
What's he looking at? It looked like he did it on purpose, like he knew he was beat, said, I'm going to go ahead and take the penalty here. I know they're going to get it on the 3, but they're not scoring. That's...
Well, you know, when you get that close, you got to turn your head around and leap. If you do that and you make contact, you got a pretty good chance of getting away from a call.
I think fear factor set in there. He was about to get beat for a touchdown.
He was praying, please don't let that ball come down.
The walk-off gets the Rams to the 3-yard line, 1st and goal. And Pelt dropped for a loss. DJ Renteria, the outstanding defensive end, senior from Roswell, New Mexico, made the big play for the Lobos.
Well, that's what you get out of this defense, Mike. It's one that brings pressure almost all the time.
Yep. Who are you going to block? You bring more than they have? Or if you have a lot of guys up at the line, you're going to get the offensive line to make the wrong call or one lineman to step the wrong way, and all of a sudden there's your hole.
Communications major. He's a regular guest on a local radio talk show. He's their best defensive lineman, according to St. Louis, the defensive coordinator. And whistles before the snap. It'll be the end of the 1st quarter. These two teams marching up and down the field, but at the moment, each team with just 3 points after 15 minutes in Albuquerque. We're back in Albuquerque and ready for the start of the 2nd quarter. Colorado State and New Mexico tied at 3, and the CSU Rams looking at 2nd and goal from the 8-yard line. Lobos, a blitz-happy defense, showing blitz, moving along the line. And as soon as they sensed the encroachment, the ball was snapped by the center Dreyer, and Van Pelt took a knee, anticipating the offside call against New Mexico.
Plan play. As soon as you see the lineman jump, the center snaps the ball, the quarterback takes a knee, you get your 5 yards.
Dead ball. Offside. Defense. Half the distance to the goal. It remains 2nd down.
Well, 1st quarter, Bradley Van Pelt running away without a shoe. One-footed down the sideline. That was the offense for those guys. And then on the other side, New Mexico, not much happening other than more running the ball, but then a lot of drops by New Mexico.
Well, it sure has been. And getting a good job of Van Pelt leading the offense, but still just 3-3.
4 costly penalties against New Mexico. Here's Sanders down to the 3-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and goal. Daniel Kegler made the tackle for New Mexico. Senior defensive end, who was a preseason all-conference player in the preseason balloting in Mountain West, lost his starting job to Zach Rupp, but is still a regular member of their front rotation.
It's a nice stand so far by New Mexico. See if they can finish it off.
Third goal from the 3. Van Pelt throws the slant, touchdown if it stands. There is a flag now. David Anderson caught it, and a flag thrown along the line of scrimmage by the official on the near sideline.
Boy, what a nice throw. Looks like this one's coming back.
Illegal shift. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down will be repeated.
Now that hurts Colorado State because Anderson did a great job to get inside to get the slant pass, because that corner has one responsibility: keep him to the outside. But Anderson worked his way inside. Great job, but it goes for naught.
You talked about the well-thrown ball, Mike, when we spoke with Dan Hammerschmidt yesterday, who coaches the quarterbacks on the Colorado State staff, he said that is part of the improvement of Van Pelt this year. Much better throwing the slants, much better in the second-level passing game, the 15-yard to 20-yard passes. Each team hampered by penalties. Now the ball back at the 8. Instead, they throw a fade for Anderson. No signal yet. Incomplete, the officials say. Anderson came up without the ball. Gabe Fulbright, their best cover corner, had the coverage, and that's a matchup we will likely see all night long.
Yeah, I was going to say that they needed to go the other way because this is the better corner out there. Fulbright, good feet, good hips, and he can get up, so he can play that ball.
Boy, oh boy, was that.
Oh, think it was a catch?
It was close.
That's great coverage, though.
So now a field goal try for Babcock. Jeff's already connected on his only attempt of the night. And this 24-yarder is right down the middle.
I want to get another look at that one.
Coming up, we'll chat with the most dominant player in Lobo history, one of the best linebackers in the NFL today. We're talking about Brian Urlacher. He'll join us on the telephone when we come back to Albuquerque. Battle of field goals. There have been 3 possessions in the game. Colorado State's had it twice. New Mexico once, all 3 ending in field goals. Should this have ended in a touchdown?
Look at that. Is that right toe on the chalk? And the ball, he looked like he has, look at the first, he has possession. Look at, he's got the ball.
I think the toe was on the chalk.
I think so too. And you've got 3 officials.
From there, it doesn't look like it.
He had 3 officials in great position taking a look at it. And then the second question of whether he had possession. So I think it was the right call.
It looked like he had possession when his foot came down. But boy, that was close whether the toe was on that chalk or not. But the rest, they were right there. They were right on the spot.
Kevin Mark kicks off. More than 50% of his kickoffs have gone for touchbacks. This one could have been, but instead it is run out by Dwight Counter. And a bad decision by Counter, as he did not reach the 20. He's out to the 18-yard line. And that's where New Mexico will begin. 1st and 10. Here we are a minute into the second quarter, guys. They've had the ball once.
That kind of leaves your offense kind of cold. You don't get into a rhythm when you're standing on the sideline, obviously.
I'm glad I wasn't the one that said this was going to be a high-scoring game.
Oh, key of little faith.
See how I'm backing away from you guys now? It could be a high-scoring game.
Oh, come on. We're 1 minute into the second quarter.
If you're talking about scoring on possessions, it's been
very
an
good
impressive offensive game so far.
That's true. I never know where you're going, Sean. I'm still trying to figure you out.
Long sustained drives for both teams. New Mexico did have the ball for 5 minutes and 45 seconds before kicking the field goal on their only possession prior to this. And this one starts with a thud. A timeout called by the Lobos. Back to Albuquerque after this. Sean McDonough, Rod Gilmore, Mike Golick, and Dave Ryan back here at University Stadium in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Nearly a minute into the second quarter. And Colorado State has a 6-3 lead over the Lobos, who begin 1st and 10 from their own 18-yard line. Casey Kelly was 3 for 5 on the opening drive for 23 yards. And an option look from UNM. Kelly wisely kept it. He shows some speed. All the way inside the 30-yard line of Colorado State. Lucas Davis, a backup free safety, a freshman, ran him down after a 52-yard gain.
Anything you can do, I can do better.
Well, the thing he did as well as Van Pelt was make a cut that made a guy miss right at the line of scrimmage. He got inside, and boy, when you're running the alley to get the quarterback on the option, you have to come under control. And Casey Kelly just made a nice cut and made the guy coming up miss completely.
Kelly had rushed for only 114 yards the whole year. That's the longest rush of his career. 1st and 10, New Mexico from the CSU 30. Dontrell Moore carries close to another first down at the 21-yard line. As we mentioned a moment ago, we're pleased to welcome from his home, lying on the couch, watching his alma mater, the most decorated player in Lobo history, Brian Urlacher, on the phone with us. How you doing tonight, Brian?
I'm doing great.
How you enjoying the game, and how closely do you follow your alma mater?
Well, I don't get very many TV games, so not very often do I get to see them play, but I watch the papers every Sunday, see how they did, but that's having a good year. It's fun to watch them play. ESPN.
This is the only national TV appearance tonight for New Mexico. We hope it's better for them than it was their only Friday night appearance last year when they lost 49-0 to Texas Tech.
Brian, is this kind of a program changer? Is this where New Mexico needs to go now to take care of Colorado State? They haven't done it in a while. Is this something that can help put them on the map a little more?
Yeah, I think so. You know, it's obviously it's a national televised game. If they can beat a good, Colorado State's always in the top 25 in and out. If we can beat them, I think that'll be a good step for our program. I think we won 4 games in a row going into last week, and they're definitely taking steps in the right direction.
Dontrell Moore carries near another first down. He's down to the 8-yard line. We're speaking with Brian Urlacher, the first-round pick of the Chicago Bears in the 2000 draft, 9th pick overall out of UNM, where Brian, you played both linebacker and free safety. I'm sure when the fans look at you now, they wonder how could a man that large have played free safety. Were you as big as you are now when you were running a free safety here?
I was a little bit lighter. I was about 245 then. I'm 255 now, but we had a little bit different defense. I was a rover back, so I played a little free safety and a little bit of linebacker, so I was just kind of guy around all over the place and other responsibilities.
There's Moore to the end zone for a touchdown, making Lobo fans everywhere, including in Chicago, very happy. Dontrell Moore, an 8-yard run, the first touchdown of the game for either team. And the Lobos take the lead. Brian, thank you very much.
All right, guys, thanks for having me.
Good luck this weekend.
Brian, he's going to think he should be staying on the line. He gets on the line, talks to us, and they go down and score.
Hey, when the producer says, say goodbye, you say goodbye. We are just the messenger.
That's all we are.
Brian sounded like he was ready to just relax on the couch.
It's a little late back there in Chicago, isn't it?
The extra point up and good for Wes Zunker. Dontrell Moore with his 15th rushing touchdown of the season.
He makes nice, subtle moves at the line of scrimmage. You saw a nice spin move in the beginning of the game, but here, nothing too fancy, just a little juke, and that's it. Nice blocking on the line. Again, this is a huge offensive line, and they engulf you on the defensive side, and Moore just kind of does little cuts in and out of that, and a nice route to the end zone.
He is a surprisingly strong and tough runner when he cuts inside like that, or when he cuts back. And as a matter of fact, Colorado State, they recruited him. They didn't see him as a running back. They wanted him to play corner for them, but he obviously wanted to run the ball, and you can see he does it pretty darn well.
Now, do you want to revisit your comment about this being an offensive game?
Yeah, did you hear him? He has such little faith.
You know what? I did jump on that pretty quick.
You want to jump back onto that now?
Yeah, you know what? My ankle's a little sprained jumping off that wagon there. I'll try and crawl back on in a minute.
We mentioned 5 wins in a row for CSU against New Mexico in 8 of the last 9. As a matter of fact, this is the first lead New Mexico has had on Colorado State since the 3rd quarter of their meeting in the 2000 season, a game played in Fort Collins. New Mexico scored a touchdown in the 3rd quarter to take a 14-10 lead, but CSU scored in the 4th to win 17-14. The kickoff down to Dexter Wynn. Trying to get outside to the left. And he's pulled out of bounds and then thrown down. There is a flag down on the play. Wynn, a 22-yard return. He was thrown down by Dwight Counter.
See that? They're going to call that. There was a ref coming right down the sideline who didn't make the call. Or an official, and then the referee threw it. Let's see if he gets it.
Well, yes, I think he did with the right hand.
Well, I don't know. I thought maybe he got the collar.
The ref was I don't know if he did.
I think he gets him with the right hand on the...
No, I don't think so. Not at all. He got the jersey at the collar.
There was a ref right behind who didn't throw the flag, and then...
That's a bad call.
Yep.
5 penalties against New Mexico over 54 yards. Wynn, a terrific return man, one of the best in the nation. And he hopes to play in the NFL, and he told us last night, I really need to get to the NFL because my mom, Shirley, in Atlanta is getting ready to be in a soup commercial.
Well, he's going to get to the NFL. I don't know about the soup commercial.
Shirley's ready for her close-up. On 1st and 10, nothing doing. And let's check in with Dave Ryan.
Sean, a big key to the UNLV loss for New Mexico last week, personal foul penalties. You guys have mentioned it. Lobo coach Rocky Long says it was a chippy game. Both teams lost their cool several times. New Mexico was hit with 5 personal foul, unsportsmanlike calls, all for 15 yards. Most came in the first half. Lobo coaching staff lit into the players at halftime. He promised us tonight they would not have penalties like that. Late hits that would hurt his team. It's not happening.
Well, that one was not a late hit. That was a bad call.
After the loss of 7 carries for 6 yards rushing for Sean Sanders. They stay with him, and he gets a hard-earned gain out to the 44. That's a gain of 5. It'll be 3rd down and 7 for Colorado State. Brandon Ratcliffe made the tackle.
To follow up on Dave Ryan's point, you want to stop the penalties, but you don't want to take away the aggressiveness of your team.
And it's such a shame. Terry Layden, the referee, making the call there away from the play. I think he saw the head turn and assumed that he had the face mask, and it's a shame because it was a bad call. That's one that just can kill you. It's not even your fault.
5 men up around the line. They do blitz with different people. Van Pelt in trouble, and he cannot escape. Taken down by Daniel Goronsky, the middle linebacker, back at the 40-yard line.
Well, Isaiah Lewis, the defensive coordinator, told me before the ball game on the field, we're going to come with 5 or 6 guys. We got to get enough shirts around him to make a tackle because he's so tough one-on-one. If you're going to bring a blitz, don't send one guy after this man.
I'm going to tell you what, if you're a defensive player, you'd love this system because there are guys coming all over the place. Absolutely flying. You don't know where they're coming from.
Jeff Babcock to punt. First punt for either team with under 10 minutes left in a half. And what a punt this is. A line drive into the end zone. No chance for Counter to bring that one back. A 60-yard punt. Timeout with 9.5 left in the first half. New Mexico leading Colorado State 10-6.
ESPN2's College Football Friday. Brought to you by Pontiac. Vote for this week's ultimate Pontiac high-performance play at ESPN.com/Pontiac. And by the United States Army, an army of one.
Back here at University Stadium in Albuquerque, where they will set an attendance record for total attendance in a home season. With this crowd tonight, they needed just 14,000. They have a sellout crowd here tonight. Well over 14,000 to watch New Mexico and Colorado State, the 2 best offensive teams so far this season in the Mountain West Conference, and they've lived up to that advanced billing tonight, marching up and down the field. New Mexico with the ball and a 4-point lead with 9.5 left until halftime. The option for Kelly and the pitch and a good catch by Dontrell Moore. But he's out of bounds. Danny Mastropolo up from the safety spot to make the tackle. That touchdown scored by Moore on the 8-yard run gives him 16 for the season, 15 of them rushing and 1 receiving. And that ties him with Terrence Mathis for the single season touchdown record here at New Mexico. Of course, he has gone on to a nice career in the NFL as a receiver.
Let me tell you, Moore is going to obliterate just about every record here. Just a sophomore.
Not a lot of household names that come out of this program over the years. Under Rocky Long, it does seem to be a program on the rise. A pass thrown. Is it a completion? Yes, short of a first down. Ben Stratton had the coverage as the catch was made by Dwight Counter. They'll mark the ball back at the 27-yard line, 3rd down and 3. Since 1998, they have improved their win total every year. It's been the step method up the ladder under Rocky Long. They won 3 games in his first year. Much better over the last decade than in their history prior. They've had some interesting coaches here. Marv Levy, Joe Morrison, Dennis Franchione, Joe Lee Dunn, some of the recognizable names who have coached here. Kelly Kepton did not get the first down, needed the 30, got to the 29.5.
That's where weighing $195 can hurt you, and where Bradley Van Pelt's 2 1/4 helps him. When you're getting down, you need that half a yard, and you need maybe that little bit more strength to stretch it forward.
But now we get a chance to see Dexter Wynn back on the punt return. Yeah, he's pretty special, and this is one of the things that will get him to the NFL. He plays corner, he can play man coverage, and he can return kicks.
Can you say Dante Hall? I mean, everybody's seeing that in the NFL now with the Chiefs. They're looking for someone that can change field position.
Tyler Goss, the punter. Sophomore from San Diego. Wynn had trouble with it and lost it. It's free at the 30-yard line and recovered by New Mexico.
Well, I guess we jinxed him.
Yeah, we're good for that.
Josh Bazinet recovered the fumble. When we talked with Sonny Lubick last night, he talked about how Wynn has had trouble with the new halo rule this year. Early in the season, he was calling for fair catches more than he had in the past. He got whacked a couple of times at the very beginning of the season, and that seemed to make him a little gun shy. He's back to foregoing fair catches now. That time he just couldn't hang on, and Bazinet recovered.
Well, on a punt, you want to catch the ball higher than you do low. When that ball drops below your eye level, it gets harder to catch as it goes down. So you want to be up a little bit higher and not down around your knees when you're trying to catch a punt. Or a fly ball, for that matter.
From the 30, the Lobos try to capitalize. Moore down to the 28-yard line, a gain of 2. Here's Dave Ryan.
All right, Sean, thanks so much. Adrian Boyne, the leading receiver for New Mexico, is out at least for the first half. Trainers say he'll be evaluated in the halftime locker room, but by the fact that his helmet is gone, doesn't have it anywhere near him, he's got a jack on, it looks like he is done for the night. Leading receiver in terms of catches this year, made a switch from running back at only 170 pounds. The coaches wanted to get him on the field as one of the best 11 athletes they have. Scored his first collegiate touchdown earlier this year against Utah, but looks to be done for now.
Second down and 8. Thank you, Dave. Approaching 7 minutes left in the first half. Kelly to the sideline. Caught by Terrence Thomas. Dexter Wynn pushed him out of bounds, short of the first down. It'll be 3rd down and 2 from the 22.
You know, going back to Boyd, 37 receptions coming in tonight. You saw right in the first play when he had it over the middle, and then they called it incomplete, but it certainly looked like a fumble. Came down on his shoulder. He was a guy that they thought would be the running back, but he never really gained weight. Stayed at like $170, $175, and never got a lot bigger. So as Dave said, they needed to get him on the field, so they thought wide receiver was the spot. He was certainly blossoming out there.
He had 9 catches last week against UNLV, so that's a big loss. 3rd down and 2. Moore, first down, heading toward the end zone. Touchdown, New Mexico.
You talked about the cutback running, Rod. That's what cutback running is right there.
Well, it's not a surprise for Colorado State. They knew that was the one thing they had to take away from him, and that is simply staying in that hip pocket behind so he can't cut back on you.
The extra point up and good by Wes Zunker. 97 yards rushing on 12 carries, 2 touchdowns for Moore. He rushed for 181 last year up in Fort Collins in their loss to the Rams. New Mexico leading 17-6.
You know what you never see in car commercials? Real cars.
It certainly seems as though Dontrell Moore has put the rough week last week against UNLV with the 2 lost fumbles behind him. 97 yards rushing. And now the single season touchdown record holder here in New Mexico all by himself. And New Mexico capitalizing on the muff punt by Dexter Wynn, the first turnover of the game. And Aaron Barrett will kick off. We mentioned they've been trying to find somebody who could kick the ball off a little bit deeper. So tonight they're trying Barrett, a junior college transfer. And he sends that one down to the goal line. Brought out by Dexter Wynn. Trying to atone for the fumbled punt, and here he goes. Out of bounds inside the 15-yard line.
How you like me now?
Wow. Well, that's quick atonement. 87 yards on the run back. And a flag now to the 31-yard line. Kevin Walton made the tackle. He had the angle and saved the touchdown.
This was going all the way to be a left return. He was trying to come all the way back across the field. Saw a hole up the gut, so he took it.
First down.
And this one looks like it's
going against New Mexico.
Personal foul. They're calling that tackle out of bounds a personal foul?
Well, the flag was thrown to the 31-yard line. The tackle was inside the 15, so I'm not sure the infraction was on the tackle.
It's football, gentlemen. It's football. It's a contact sport.
Yeah, that moves him down to the 6-yard line.
He grabs him. He's in bounds.
Not a face mask.
And he throws it. What is wrong with that?
Nothing.
This is football,
Nothing.
gentlemen. I'm so tired of this, both in college and the pros. It's a contact sport. Let him hit. A guy will get dirty occasionally. I mean, by grass stains, not a dirty play. We're going to fall on the ground here.
Okay, it was a bad call. We're with you. We're with you. Relax. All right.
Van Pelt through the crowd and into the end zone. Great patience by Van Pelt on a couple of occasions. It looked like he was bottled up, but he waited and went in from the 6 for the touchdown for Colorado State.
Rod, I expected that the last series when they were down there, when they threw the passes out to Anderson.
They're going to go for 2 to try to get within a field goal.
You know what's going to happen here.
Rod's going to give the speech, and I agree with Rod. It's too early in the game to do this.
Thank you. I do not have to give the speech because you're right on the money.
Later on, you'll wish you had the point.
I agree with you guys.
It's unanimous? That might be the first time this
pains
season.
me, but I do.
It's too early to do this.
You know, I'm waiting for Bob Davie to address that on his football 101 on ESPN.com. He'll get there. He'll get there with that one. We've seen everything else. Get that one there. Because you have no business going for 2 points in the first half at all. You know? Makes no sense to me.
Terry Donahue, the great UCLA coach, now the general manager of the San Francisco 49ers. And every time this situation occurred, he used to bring it up. And if you keep track of it, he's right. More often than not, you regret later on that you just kicked the point. Because you keep chasing the point over and over and over again all night long.
Well, somebody made a mistake and they gave these coaches this card. And so you look at the card and it says, okay, if you're down by so many points, you go. But they should put a notice on it. You'd only use that card in the fourth quarter.
The card only has the situation. It doesn't say when you should do it. They weren't given enough instruction on the card.
Having said all this, now you know, because Sonny Lubick is a great coach, they're going to get the 2 points. And as usual, we're going to
No, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Foolishness.
Doesn't matter.
Is it one of those even if he makes it, he's still wrong?
That's right. But the rule is you don't do it.
Even when it is about to be proven wrong. I guarantee you, after that unanimous diatribe, they get the 2.
Well, it only took me about 8 weeks to get Mike to come around to my point of view on it.
No, I still don't. Not in every situation I agree. Here, in this particular, on November 7th,
with a full moon,
I agree with you.
One back, it's Rashawn Sanders. They're 1 for 1 on 2-point tries this year. Play action fake. Van Pelt in trouble, has his man. Sure enough, they get the 2. David Anderson alone in the corner of the end zone. I don't know how you could leave Anderson uncovered.
Gabriel Fulbright, who had the coverage in the drive when they ended up with the field goal because he had the coverage on Anderson going out of the end zone, he was the man who got beat here.
He got pushed off is what he had happened to him.
And as I said,
Anderson,
clearly, whenever you have a chance to get within a field goal, you go for that 2 and get within 3 points. The touchdown got them within 5. The 2-pointer makes it 17-14. A 1-play drive after the great kickoff returned by Dexter Wynn. Bradley Van Pelt the touchdown from 6 yards out, and now Kevin Mark with the kickoff. And this time, Dwight Counter takes a knee. Or actually, it was his running mate back there, Terrell Golden, who took a knee. Let's check in with Reese Davis.
Sean, Bright Light City, going to set my soul on fire for the high school showcase game of the week. Viva Las Vegas. That's the homestanding Las Vegas High School Wildcats, #1 in Nevada. They're in the dark against basic. You used to walk into Frank Nails Field and run your offense. Tough as nails. Capetillo with a sack.
Vegas football, #1 against #6.
Hey, there have been some pretty good players come out of Vegas, like Steven Jackson at Oregon State, great running back.
Dontrell Moore got very close to 100 yards for the half. With that one, he had 97. He got 2 to get to 99. Brian Sauvé, the nose tackle, number 95, made the tackle.
Did you guys get a load of Reese and Trev and Mark the other night calling a game? Had a great game, the Bowling Green game.
No, they called TCU.
TCU. You're right.
Yeah,
TCU
it was a great game.
It was a great game,
and they did a great job.
Yeah, they did. Except they had did they have anybody to throw it to in the?
No, but they argued with each other throughout.
Well, that's good.
Reese did a terrific job as usual as the traffic cop. Kelly throws through a crowd and it's caught. There's Basket, who Mike was talking about earlier, who's been emerging rapidly at wide receiver, the sophomore from Clovis, New Mexico. A 14-yard gain and an acrobatic catch for the first down.
Left-handed, one hand.
After it was tipped by Stratton.
That is great concentration. Look at this ball get tipped. Reaches it out, pulls. Wow, that's a great job.
Basket, a great athlete. He was a 7-foot high jumper in high school. Suffered a serious spinal injury as a redshirt freshman that kept him out of action for more than 2 months. But he's come back at full speed. Here's Moore bursting through the hole out to the 41-yard line for a gain of 4. Brian Sauvé again made the tackle. That gets Moore over 100 yards. Here's Rhino.
Well, you talked about Dontrell Moore early, a sophomore, Sean. It's pretty amazing. He's been able to overcome all of the fumble problems. He's worked very hard with Curtis Looper, who's a running backs coach here at New Mexico, has told him not to get discouraged. The last thing you want to do is get down on yourself, stay aggressive hitting the hole, and keep the confidence up. Dontrell says his teammates also been very supportive. A lot of interaction after fumble, which we haven't seen tonight, getting him right back on his feet. It's worked well for him.
And Dave, this is now his 7th 100-yard rushing game of the season. That is the single-season New Mexico record. He carried again out to the 45-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and a long 2.
Smooth, I think of when I see him run, Rod. It's smooth to me. Not herky-jerky at all, just subtle moves.
He's smooth in everything he does on the field, and he's a Renaissance guy. He's smooth on the piano, too. You know, he plays the piano well. He's a great high school student, a great student here at New
golf
Mexico.
in high school as well. Leonard in golf.
Guy does everything.
2 tight ends into the ball game on 3rd down and 2. The option for Casey Kelly. Nice decision. And a 1st down across midfield to the 45 of the Rams, where Jamal Hall made the tackle.
Colorado State is overrunning everything. Look at the flow to the right. Everybody's flying out of there. Simple. Cut back to the left.
Well, I'll tell you what, we talking about Kelly had a nice run. We're talking about Moore's run, so you got to give some kudos to the big fellas up front. Again, this is a line that goes 310, 325, 340, 320. I mean, these guys are huge, and they're locking on, and they're pushing, and they stay on their feet. They're good athletes.
They're a highly touted offensive line coming into the year. They were a little disappointing at the start of the season. Moore through more big holes. One man to beat. Touchdown, Dontrell Moore. What a half for the sophomore. That's a 45-yard touchdown run.
Well, I'm glad I started talking about the O-line, because he can run back and thank Ryan Cook, the 6'7", 340-pound center and the Remington Award nominee, going to the top center in the country. This big guy just absolutely walled off his man, and a huge hole for Moore.
Extra point from Zunker, up and good. 16 carries, 152 yards, and 3 touchdowns for Dontrell Moore.
Nothing fancy, just walling off right here and coming right back. To just pushing him out. It's one thing, he had the angle on him, but then to push, it was Brian Sauvé, he pushed out of the way. That creates a bigger hole. and takes more time for the linebackers to have to come in. Sauve's got to be able to hold his ground better, but Cook just shoved him out of the way.
You're right, and he's got to get help at the second level. Too many guys flying up in and not using their patience waiting for the cutback. They're not doing that, and they're making that big mistake, and I believe that they're going to have to talk about that at halftime. Just be patient and wait, and if you don't get caught up in that traffic, you can make a play.
You mentioned Ryan Cook, and we spoke with Dan Dodd, the offensive coordinator, yesterday. He said he has the best feet of any offensive lineman I've been around in 24 years of coaching, and this is a guy who's 6'7", 340 pounds. He said if he can just get a little stronger, he's going to have a long career in the NFL.
Well, you don't see guys that heavy, and what's going to happen is you're going to have shorter, stronger guys trying to get under his pads for leverage, but boy, he's got some nice, quick feet.
Short kickoff handled by David Anderson, and he got belted out of bounds at the 30-yard line. A 5-yard return. Here's Reese.
All right, Sean, coming up at halftime, Trev and Mark will join me as always. We will identify the next great coaches in college football. Also, we'll have the SEC changing rules, and Gene Cady, yes, Gene Cady's going to be involved.
He might be one of the next great college football coaches. I mean, he's that good. I mean, he's that good in basketball. Why can't he coach football?
We will see just how Gene Cady does know a little bit about football, maybe a little more than you would imagine. He'll draw up a play for us at halftime as soon as you guys finish drawing up the first half.
All right, Reese. Gene Cady is one of those guys who coaches with a football mentality. Tom Izzo the same way when you think about the great college basketball coaches. Van Pelt. Wow. Looked like a certain sack. Instead, it's out to the 40-yard line.
Well, we talked about sending one guy after Van Pelt. You can't do it and get away with it. You got to have a couple of red shirts around him. He's been under pressure most of the night. He's been able to make something happen when there have been only one guy around. But when it's two guys in the pocket, they get him. But on that last play, one guy off the corner, Mike, he spun out a la John Elway, got to the outside, and was gone.
Now a whistle with 2:12 left in the half.
Substitution infraction. Offense broke the huddle of 12 players. 5 yards. And remains second down.
I mean, those would make Sonny get grayer than the little bit of gray he's got showing now.
Okay, I got to ask you this. How frustrating is it when you got a quarterback lined up like that, and he does something like that to spin out on you and get away?
Well, you're always taught, and it was Elway that I first was taught about when I came into the NFL, is when you're coming at him from the backside, go to his upfield hip, because you know he's going to spin out. He knows you're there. You don't think he knows, but he knows, and you go right for the middle of his back, and they spin out of it. You have to go upfield on his hip.
Did that work? And Pelt in trouble with the snap and cannot get away this time. Shannon Kincaid, a backup outside linebacker who was a starter earlier in the year, came flying in on the blitz and made the tackle.
Two things here. It's a bad snap, but check out this formation. It is empty. They don't have it back there. They want to run their power game with Van Pelt. But a bad snap takes them out of that right away. This is a new formation. They like it because it gives them the ability to throw to their wide receivers, force man-to-man, or run the power game with Van Pelt.
Kincaid was a starter before he hurt his knee. He ran a 4.49 40 before that knee injury. Deep ball, a little bit too high. Intended for Eric Hill. Good coverage from Brandon Payne. 4th down and 13, and the punting unit comes on.
You know, that bad snap two plays ago, I'm just wondering if that had something to do with Dreyer and going back to the right hand after having problems with, using the left hand for a while. I got to believe that's got to be it, but he's been good most of the night.
Timeout by New Mexico.
Wow.
That's a killer. I mean, the clock was stopped. They might need that timeout here when they get the ball back with about a minute to go.
I hate to waste one there.
Apparently they didn't have the proper personnel ready to go. College football Saturday. It starts tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern with Iowa and Purdue. Boilermakers, one of 4 Big Ten teams, only one conference loss. And then at 7:45 Eastern time, Virginia Tech and Pittsburgh. The Panthers actually in that Big East driver's seat. They're 3-0 in conference, while Tech and Miami are 3-1.
Mike, you know, last week, I think I picked Virginia Tech over Miami, and I think you picked Miami.
I did.
I don't think you gave me any love for that, but that's okay. We can pick again this week in the second half for tomorrow's games.
Let's be right twice in the season before we start begging for the love.
No. You gotta call for it when you can get it.
Boy, you got the soapbox. You want to get up here and just scream it out?
Do you remember who last week said Michigan is the best team in the Big Ten and would prove it against Michigan State on the road?
You know what? Those were two picks I had the other way that my team just got, that I picked, got walloped. Miami and Michigan State. Yeah, I figured you would.
A lot of self-back patting, if that's an expression.
Hey, if we don't do it, who will, huh?
Second punt for Jeff Babcock. The first one sailed 60 yards. This another driving kick. White counter. Flag down. He's out of bounds along the near sideline at the 32, the 33-yard line. 48-yard punt at a 9-yard return, but there was a flag thrown back at the 26-yard line as Counter was beginning his return. This will be the 11th penalty of the night. There have been 4 so far against CSU and 6 against UNM.
See what happens here. I think if there wasn't a penalty, they may have thought about trying to get they have a timeout left, maybe working it down the field some. But if there's a penalty going back against New Mexico on the return, I would be hard-pressed to see them try and do anything when they're backed up.
There are 2 fouls on the return team. Block in the back. That penalty is declined. Holding, 10-yard foul, first down.
So Dontrell Moore and the offense come back on the field. 152 yards and 3 touchdowns. He has all 3 touchdowns for New Mexico tonight.
Just great subtle moves. I mean, just enough to get out of the way. Doesn't really change the direction a ton. And as you said, Rod, and I agree, excellent cutback run. It reminds me of the running backs in the Denver Broncos system, where they kind of zone block. You know, they don't have the beef that this line has, but and the running back is patient and waits to see what develops, and Moore a lot of times is going to cut it back. And you're right, the defense for Colorado State has got to be more disciplined.
Quarterback Kelly's also run for 72 to get them to that total of well over 200 yards. Drew Wood made the tackle on Dontrell Moore. Each team with just 1 timeout left, so in all likelihood they'll be content to go to the locker room with this being a 10-point game.
No doubt Colorado State easily has the firepower to get back in this one. Offensively, defensively, they have got to put the clamps on Moore in that running game.
I think there's one adjustment to make. I think you get your guys at halftime and you say, look, you're getting caught up in the line of scrimmage, linebackers and defensive backs, too soon. Be patient for the cutback, and I think that'll help them tremendously.
15 seconds left in the half. Drew Wood again made the tackle, this time on Moore. And that's the end of the half. And what a half for Dontrell Moore, the sophomore. 154 yards in that half in the 3 scores. Here's Dave Ryan.
Sonny Lubbock, a huge first half, as Sean McDonough said, for Dontrell Moore. More than 150 yards and the touchdowns. How do you stop the run game in the second half for New Mexico?
We got to start playing a little bit more 8-man front. We've been playing too much cover 2, and we got to play an 8-man front the second half.
Mental focus, aggressive play. You told us last night you wanted your team to play better in that regard, did they?
Well, I thought they did. They came out and played hard early, and then we give up a big play with the quarterback. Then we miss a tackle down there for that 1 touchdown, and there she is.
Good luck in the second half. Sonny Lubbock and CSU, Sean, have a 4-game win streak over New Mexico on the line here.
Indeed they do. At halftime, it's New Mexico leading 24-14. Now let's head back to the studio for the college football halftime report and join Reese, Trev, and Mark. Gentlemen.
All right, Sean, entertaining first half. You know, Sonny Lubbock has put together a terrific program at Colorado State, as Rocky Long has at New Mexico. During halftime, we will identify who's next. The next potential great head coaches out there. We will also give you an unusual tribute to Mark May during the Friday tailgate. Yeah. Something we did not know about our partner. If you stick around, we'll also tell you how the SEC has finally decided to sort out that potential 3-way tie in the East. Back after this. Back on the College Game Day halftime report, a little Friday night football from the Mountain West. Colorado State And New Mexico, 24-14 lead for the Lobos at the break. You know, heading into the second Saturday in November, and already a couple of jobs are open, potentially pretty good jobs, Arizona, Mississippi State, and this is the time of year when rumors start to fly. Coaches potentially on the hot seat. You're not necessarily lobbying for that to happen, but it is going to happen. There are going to be changes, and those spots have to be filled by potential up-and-comers. Who are some guys, Mark, that have captured your eye that deserve an opportunity either to move to a higher level or maybe as assistant coaches move into a head coaching role?
Well, I've got a split list. This is the top of my list, and these guys deserve a shot at the big time and to graduate to the big time. Randy Edsel at UConn built that program. Dan Hawkins at Boise State. Jeff Tedford at Cal, of course. But then the guys below that list, you look at these coordinators. Chuck Long, Oklahoma. Norm Chow. Norm Chow's been interviewed for some jobs in the past, but he's waiting for that right opportunity. And Randy Shannon, the defensive coordinator at Miami, deserves a head coaching opportunity.
How does Norm Chow not have a job? Here's my guys, Jim Grobe and Gary Patterson. I think they're ready for the next step up. Jim Chaney at Purdue as a coordinator. Norm Chow versus Mark D'Antonio. I think a terrific job at Ohio State. The only reason Ohio State's still in the race for the Big Ten is Mark D'Antonio and, of course, Mike Stoops. I think you can throw Brent Venables on there as well, and coaches at Oklahoma, lots of different guys.
You know, I think also another guy you could mention is Charlie Strong. And other than just, you know, throwing out names, Charlie Strong is the defensive coordinator at Florida, former defensive coordinator at South Carolina. A lot of times it's, you know, I think athletic directors get a little bit afraid to make a move. They want to make sure it's the proper fit.
You know, life's a lot like a tree in a lot of situations, you know, and a tree, so many people in life are just content to hug the base of that tree because that's where their security is. But the real great pleasure and reward in life is way out there on the limb. And so many people are afraid to go out there on the limb. Yeah, if you go out there on the limb, you might fall on your face. But the only true great reward is out there on the limb. These athletic directors need to quit hugging the base of the tree. Go out there, look for the real reward out on the limb.
And your move? Are you moved?
No. I'm not inspired by that.
So how do you go about evaluating a potentially good head coaching hire? Because you hear so many of the big programs say he has to have head coaching experience. Bob Stoops didn't.
Yeah, but that's ridiculous to have head coaching experience as a necessity. Here's what the key is. Is he energetic? Can he recruit and bring recruits in?
Yep.
Can he coach and keep the players in the program in that program? And the bottom line is, if you win, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you go, what level you go. If you're a winner, you're a winner. And you have to look in that coach's past to make sure he's had a winning tradition behind him.
Mark, you said it. Joe Castiglione, the athletic director at Oklahoma, he went out on that limb. This is Oklahoma. This was the Oklahoma Sooners, proud tradition. Bob Stoops had never coached. He'd never been a head coach. It'd have been easy for him to go take a proven head coach, stay around that trunk of the tree, hug the trunk. But no, he went out on the limb, and that's where the great reward was found.
What if a hurricane comes along and the whole tree falls over?
Oh, geez. You know what? You talked about trying to identify winners. That's something that the SEC potentially could have a problem with in the Eastern Division. 3 teams sitting there with 2 losses, and Florida beat Georgia, which beat Tennessee, which beat Florida. So it would go all the way down, if it ends this way, to the 7th tiebreaker. And the 7th tiebreaker on the books was a vote of the athletic directors, as you see what the 3 teams in question in the SEC East have left. But on that conference call this morning, the SEC athletic directors decided to take the subjectivity out of this. They will now rely on the BCS standings, and the highest-ranked BCS team will advance from a tie situation, 3-way tie, if all other tiebreakers are exhausted. There is one caveat in this. If the second-place team tied is within 5 spots in the BCS standings of the highest-ranked team, then head-to-head would factor into the equation. Okay, I'll try to sort this out for you. Take a look at where they stand right now in the BCS and what they have remaining in a non-conference situation. At the moment, Georgia is at the top, 10th in the BCS, Tennessee, and Florida. Now, the reason that these non-conference games are now important is because it could affect their BCS ranking. And if Florida could beat Florida State, they would have the opportunity, one would think, to move close enough to Georgia, perhaps to use that head-to-head criteria that the SEC's established. Satisfied with the move?
No. But at least they
Why
did something, because before it was just, well, we're going to see where they fall in the BCS. At least they stepped up in the table and said, okay, we'll put some parameters on the situation. They did something about it. I'm not completely happy about it, but at least they did.
Well, what did you want them to do?
What's the other option?
Did you want them to vote?
No, I didn't want to
pull out of a hat?
No, because here's the key. The rule is they were supposed to vote. They had that in their bylaws. That's the rules. Either stick to the rules or come up with a better scenario than, gee, we're going to let the BCS decide. Now, because we got pressure from everybody else in the community to put it in the BCS's hands, let's put it back in our hands where we have to make some of the decisions. At least they stepped up and did something.
I congratulate the SEC. I congratulate the officials for not having their head in the sand, for taking it, looking at it, making addendum. You know, sometimes we have laws in this country that were made back in 1910. They're not applicable now.
Not being able to take a mule into a library.
You can't take a mule into a library in the state of Mississippi. Yeah. Well, you know what? Make it addendum.
I don't think it's Mississippi.
One of those states.
I think it's Virginia. I'm not sure. Okay. We'll try to sort out all of this legalese and laws that ought to be off the books when we continue on the College Game Day halftime report. More for Los Lobos in the first half. Don Trell with $154. New Mexico up by 10. Back to the Friday tailgate, and Larry Fitzgerald will come back. That is the face of the most dynamic player in college football, Larry Fitzgerald of Pittsburgh. 13 straight regular season games with a touchdown catch. You could just say he's a super-duper star.
You're a superstar on your way to fame. You're a super-duper superstar. Success is your game. Now you are a true born star. Superstar.
Larry Fitzgerald and the Pittsburgh Panthers take on Virginia Tech Saturday night, 7:45 on ESPN. Of course, Virginia Tech coming off that win over Miami. Pittsburgh, the only team in the Big East without a conference loss. It'll be a great matchup on Saturday night. And to give you a flavor of everything to expect on the family of networks on Saturday, it's our Friday tailgate.
Here in West Lafayette, Purdue football has been described as basketball on grass, so we went to the basketball expert.
So what we want to do in basketball is play football in the hardwood. So tomorrow when we play and go against Fred Russell, we got to get in the gaps and play. In order to win championships, we got to all play defense no matter what sport it is.
Purdue and Iowa still in the Big Ten race. You can catch it Saturday, 3:30 Eastern on ESPN.
It's small college football night in the Metrodome here in Minneapolis. Northern State right now is taking on Winona. The winner of this ball game still has a chance to win the conference championship in the Northern Sun Intercollegiate Conference. Big ball game right now. The stakes get even higher tomorrow when Wisconsin comes to town to take on Minnesota. The winner of that ball game still has a shot at the Big Ten title, and more importantly, the winner will take home Paul Bunyan's axe. It's tomorrow at noon Eastern Time on ESPN.
For the true flavor at Northwestern, the place to go is Mustard's Last Stand, right across the street from the football stadium. It's been in the Starkman family for 34 years. If you get just one thing, you got to go with the Chicago hot dog. And when you're in this town, under no circumstances ever do you put ketchup on a hot dog. That is just unacceptable. We have football coming up. Penn State at Northwestern. You can catch it noon Eastern Time Saturday on ESPN2. That will not be a dog of the game.
Here in Anderson, South Carolina, I am on the field of the T.L. Hanna Yellow Jackets. Now, just what does that have to do with Clemson? Well, T.L. Hanna is the home of radio, and currently the movie out starring Cuba Gooding Jr. adds radio, but I am with the real deal in radio. Are you going to come down that hill with Clemson?
I think I will come down here with Clemson. Tough to watch with football team comes down here.
Couldn't ask for any more inspiration than that.
I will be on TV.
You bet you will. Couldn't ask for more inspiration than that. Number 3 Florida State takes on Clemson at 7:45 Eastern on ESPN2. Be sure to tune in and watch radio. Come down that hill with the team and touch the rock.
The University of Pittsburgh, known for its football legends, Tony Dorsett, Dan Marino. One of the legendary spots near campus, Primanti Brothers Restaurant. Now, the original Primanti Brothers was down in the Strip District or the Warehouse District. Back in the 30s, truckers used to come through very late at night, and they asked the owners of Primanti Brothers, since they were tight on time, whether they could just throw everything on the sandwich. We're talking the French fries, the coleslaw, the whole deal. Makes for a very delicious combination. We were just over at the football offices. We saw Mark May's retired jersey. In the back here, they say they have one of his retired bibs.
You got something in your mustache.
He's got a little bite of one of those. What was the special there? Did you get one on the way to practice every day?
Oh, absolutely. That was the reason why one off season I was 325. You could have put Goodyear on my side, tethered me to Pitt Stadium. I was so fat.
You're sizzling now. You are no longer a hog.
Oh, but they had some good food there. We used to stop there every week.
You look like a.
Free for me.
You're like a big wide receiver now. New Mexico is up by 10. Back to the high school lesson.
It is Friday night. We're in Albuquerque, New Mexico. New Mexico hosting Colorado State. Then the Lobos lead at the half by 10. Sean McDonough with Rod Gilmore and Mike Golick. We heard Sonny Lubick on the way off at the half talking about the need to play some 8-man front on defense as New Mexico rushed for 226 yards in the half.
Well, the reason they were playing a lot of cover 2 is because they were afraid of the option. Now, when they go to the 8-man front, they're going to get a lot of option out of New Mexico in the second half, and that could be a problem. So I don't know if it's going to be a steady diet of 8-man front because that's going to hurt them a little bit of time.
Well, if I'm New Mexico, 31 plays, 23 runs, as you said, Sean, 226 yards. But if 8 men come up in the box, expect maybe a little bit of play action to kind of take them over the top a little bit. Or, you know, if you got that big line, you can still control the ball, and they'll keep trying to hammer it.
And New Mexico will get the ball first here in the second half as Jeff Babcock kicks off and kicks it in the end zone. Brought out by Dwight Counter, and then he went head over heels. Check that, it was Brandon Ratcliffe. Their numbers, if there's the 3 8s or 9s on their uniforms, are very tough to decipher, aren't they?
They really are. We're going to have to ask them to do something about that. But did not make it do the first half with what Mr. Moore has done. Incredible half for him with 154 yards. The offensive line doing a great job opening holes.
And Brad Van Pelt, he's been carrying the offense, running. Has not thrown it very much. Got a touchdown on the ground, but he has been pressured a lot. Jose Lewis's defense coming a lot on him in the first half. A lot of pressure.
And they stick with a good thing with Dontrell Moore. And he's out to the 31. When we spoke with the New Mexico coaches yesterday, they said the plan was for the carries to be about 50-50 between Moore and D.D. Cox, who's been a very effective running back for Rocky Long this season. But we haven't seen D.D., and you can understand why with the way Moore's been running.
Well, and the key, Moore has hung on to the ball. We've talked about the fumble issues that he's had. When he hangs on to the ball and runs for these yards, you won't see D.D. Cox.
J.C. Kelly very effective at quarterback in the first half. And his best maneuver has been the handoff to Moore, who gets stood up at the 41-yard line after a 10-yard gain. He's on his way to surpassing his career high, which was 181 yards against Colorado State last year in Fort Collins. While we have a moment, let's visit with Dave Ryan.
Well, Sean, thanks. As you can imagine, Rocky Long, the head coach of New Mexico, very pleased with his team's first half. In the first 30 minutes, they were so dominant at the point of attack, the line of scrimmage, offensively. If it's possible, he wants even more TOP in the second half. Time of possession, opening up more holes for Dontrell Moore has been so effective in the first half. Tackling Bradley Van Pelt, a big problem defensively, and covering kicks. Those are the two issues, but overall, the coach is pleased.
We've had some special teams issues through much of the year. Here is D.D. Cox, and a flag goes down.
I believe that's going to be holding right in that area. Certainly that offensive line hasn't needed to do any of that tonight. They've just been pushing people around. Well, that's what I get for guessing.
Automatic first down.
It's the 5th penalty against Colorado State. New Mexico's been penalized 7 times. As we look at the rest of the statistics, it was a slight edge to Colorado State in the first quarter. They led 6-3 after 1 quarter, but the second quarter was dominated by the Lobos.
Well, that 226 rushing just jumps out at you. You don't expect to see Colorado State give up that much yardage on the ground. Over the years, they've been pretty good against the run.
And Bradley Van Pelt in the first quarter, total yards for him, 104 passing and rushing. In the second quarter, 4. So,
yeah,
a 100-yard difference there.
Didn't have the ball.
Yeah, that certainly doesn't.
Mexico moving on the ground. Fake by Kelly, going deep and has a man open. Touchdown! Dwight Counter. The 41-yard touchdown pass from Casey Kelly.
What a great play. They started like the option to draw the safety up. They brought up 8 in the box, just like Sonny Lubick said they were going to do. And New Mexico does a great job. Dan Dodd, the offensive coordinator, and the quarterback coach, great play call.
Well, 8-man in the box equals option, or option pass.
Wes Zunker adds the extra point. Counter came into tonight's action averaging 25.4 yards per catch, 4th in the nation. And this is a 41-yard catch to improve his average, the end of a 4-play, 72-yard drive.
Here's your matchup up here. That's the one they're trying to get Counter on Bratton, and they get the matchup. You saw him bite on the option motion there. He saw the option action. He bit on it. Not enough help from the safety coming over the top to help there, Mike.
Well, the safety was just kind of waiting to see what was going on with the option or not. Didn't know if it was going to be a pitch, where it would have to go, and Counter's running right by.
Yeah, well, that's the matchup they wanted. They wanted Counter on Stratton. They like the speed versus the not great speed, and then when you get that with the option fake on it, and Stratton just comes on up, it's taking candy from the baby.
I bet they wish they were in cover 2 there.
Counter the reception. His 5th touchdown catch of the year. And Casey Kelly with his 10th touchdown pass. Here's Aaron Barrett again. They've gone to the kickoff tonight with another high short kick fielded by Anderson. And David brought it back to the 38-yard line, a 10-yard return.
Told you this would be a high-scoring game, guys.
Yes, you did, and then you changed your mind, and now you've gone back to that.
New Mexico just a point away from their game average of 32 points. But remember, Colorado State's average at 31 points a game as well, so they can get there.
Are you here tonight on a Trev Albert scholarship?
Now, throwing Trev under the bus. Oh, my goodness.
No, I'm just curious. There's been an awful lot of changing with the wind here tonight.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, Trev would say, and I agree with him, I think Trev is fantastic. It's a fluid situation. Van Pelt throws. That is not a fluid situation. Dropped by Chris Pittman. Him and an excellent receiver. 48 receptions for the year coming in. He had 48. Anderson had 47. Maybe they need to get the ball out wide to those guys who can make plays for them a bit more often.
Well, they never got in sync. Remember in the first half, he dropped the ball. Drops one in the second half. They had a couple of other drops in the first half. They've never gotten in sync. They didn't throw the ball. They didn't have the ball. That time of possession that Dave Ryan talked about, start of the third quarter, that's important. You're on the sideline a long time, you don't get a rhythm going.
It's been an unusual season for CSU. Van Pelt out to the 42. You know, so often over the years, gentlemen, you think of these Rams as a classic overachieving team. And Sonny Lubick said, we've done anything but overachieve this year. He just has wondered if that same hunger and desire that has been so much part of this program in the past is still there this year.
Well, I think that hunger is there. I'm not sure they're the same kind of team. They're not as tough. You know, you think about their offense and Kevin McDougal, Cecil Sapp. They had a bulldozing, powerful running back that made them tough. They don't quite have that on offense right now other than the quarterback.
3rd and 5, another low snap handled by Van Pelt, a low throw handled by Bartz, but he stopped short of the first down. See what Sonny Lubick does with a long way to go in the game, but he is down by 17, and it's 4th down and less than a yard right in front of him.
It's a nice tackle. Bartz is 245 pounds, and he couldn't get over there. Brandon Ratcliffe on the tackle is 200 pounds.
You like this call? It looks like they're going to go for it. See, to me, this sounds...
Desperation.
Yeah, panic and desperation.
I like it.
You like panic and desperation?
No, I think you're down 17 against a team that looks like it's going to score a lot more tonight against you. You better try to score with them. Van Pelt has the first down out to the 50-yard line.
Well, Sonny's thinking right along with you.
Yeah, you're down 17, and your defense doesn't look like you're going to stop New Mexico too often. You got to start hanging on to the ball, keep your defense off the field, and score some.
Well, my reasoning is you need a momentum changer. Now, if you get points, great, that changes it. But if you got a chance to pin them down inside their 15, 10-yard line, maybe that changes momentum for you. If your defense does get a stop, you're going to need your defense at some point in this ball game.
Blitz off the corner. Sanders trying to run away from it and didn't get very far. DJ Renteria made the tackle. No gain on the play. Renteria is sort of the Imelda Marcos. There is a flag on the play of college football. He's about 60 pairs of shoes. He said 55 of them are sneakers.
Defense, 5-yard penalty. First down will be repeated.
What is he doing with that many pairs of shoes?
What do you really? What do you do with that many? I have 3.
3? I thought you were going to say 2.
Well,
a pair of tennies and a pair of dress shoes.
Actually, and my 2 boys, they wear the same size as me, so they wear mine. So I think I have 1. I rotate between the same pair.
You're a national TV figure. You have a national radio show. Get off the wallet. Spring for some shoes for the kids, will you?
I got tennis shoes on right now.
Yes, you do.
Coat, tie, and tennis shoes.
First down and 5. Van Pelt in trouble. And he's never in trouble for very long, or at least rarely so.
Are you kidding me?
It looked like a loss. Instead, it's a first down to the 37-yard line. A 7-yard gain for Bradley Van Pelt.
That's some tough 7 yards right there. How many times he gets hit? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they finish him off.
I think that qualifies as tough.
Can he do any more?
You know, he is one of the toughest quarterbacks I think I've ever seen. There's no question about it. He will take you on. He doesn't care about it.
And he does get whacked around, but he comes right back the next play with the same intensity. Throws a good ball there to Anderson into the secondary and tripped up at the 20-yard line. A gain of 17 on the catch by Anderson. A terrific player, sophomore from Westlake Village, California, tripped up by Brandon Payne. And Anderson's a guy who was not very highly recruited at all out of Southern California.
Comes up with a nice grab there, and this is the kind of performance that Van Pelt's going to have to make. I mean, we've seen him beat teams with his legs, but can he bring his team back with throws like that and it gets some help out of his receivers like Anderson?
When we talked about the lack of recruitment of Anderson, he said it's kind of just the 5'10" white guy thing, I guess. They looked at Anderson, looked at his size, and figured he couldn't be a productive receiver at this level, but that is certainly not true. There's Sanders inside the 20 to the 17 for a pickup of 3. Billy Struther made the tackle.
Well, the thing that Anderson had happen to him that Colorado State did, they offered him a scholarship early. There's a lot more of that happening. Since they offered him early, when other teams started finding out about him, it was too late. He was going to be loyal.
Right, and here's a guy who owns about every record at Thousand Oaks where he went to high school. But again, you know, colleges look at those numbers. They look at the height. They look at the weight. They look at the speed sometimes. And if you don't measure up, they don't take a chance on you. Can never measure heart. Ever.
He's tough, too. The offensive coordinators, Dan Hammerschmidt and John Benton, said the defensive coaches want him. Low snap, and it's smothered by Van Pelt. Well, they thought the snapping would be better tonight. We mentioned earlier that Mark Dreyer, the center, who's been playing with a cast on his right hand, so he had to snap left-handed, had the cast off. He can snap right-handed now. But that was not a good snap.
Well, he had problems last week. There were 3 snaps that were bad last week. One was in the shotgun, and now that was left-handed. Now he's right-handed.
What else Van Pelt does as well, though, is when the snap's coming, he starts to bail backwards. So if it's a low snap, he ends up having to reach back forward. He may need to stand in there and make sure he has the ball before he starts bailing.
A lost down, so now 3rd down and 13. Van Pelt with time, zips one, what a throw, but it's not caught. Intended for Pittman, Well, again, could not come up with the catch. Van Pelt wondering what went wrong. Terrell Malone had the coverage for New Mexico.
Nothing wrong with this throw. I mean,
He's got to
that's
make
as,
a catch sometime tonight, doesn't he?
That's as on the money as you could make it.
I think Malone got his right hand in there, and that first look we had, it looked like he had his right hand over the top and in there to pull the ball out. But you're right, you hope your receiver can come up with a catch.
And I'm convinced that is not a throw Van Pelt could have made 2 years ago or even a year ago.
I absolutely agree with you. That's why NFL scouts are starting to take a little more notice of this guy.
He's made more improvement as a quarterback, more so than any quarterback I've ever seen. I've never seen a guy go from being at the point where you didn't think he could complete a pass to looking like he does now.
40-yard field goal try for Babcock, who's 2 for 2 tonight. This is his longest attempt of the night. And it is good into a little bit of a breeze. Nearly midway through the third quarter, Bradley Van Pelt and the Rams now back within 2 touchdowns. Sean McDonough with Rod Gilmore, Mike Golick, and Dave Ryan back in the home of the Lobos, Albuquerque, New Mexico. Crowd of more than 37,000 on hand here tonight. Raising their total home attendance this season at University Stadium to more than 210,000. That is the school record. They're averaging over 35,000 per home date. That shatters their previous attendance mark. 40-yard drive resulting in a field goal. The 4th down gamble for Sonny Lubick paid off. Kevin Mark kicks it down to the goal line. Brandon Radcliffe runs it out to the 22. Let's check in again with Reese Davis.
All right, Sean, again, our high school showcase game of the week. 4A playoffs, quarterfinals in Nevada. Las Vegas down 14-7 to Basic. Las Vegas in the dark uniforms, and Jeremy Craddock picked off by Deshaun Henderson, and Basic, number 6 in the States, bidding for the upset.
That would be your Basic upset.
Very nice.
Thank you.
It was high school, though. When you had that big game, that big win, you go hang out after that. Man, there was nothing like that.
What did you do after the big win in high school? Can you tell us?
I was going to say, but did you guys win?
Oh, come on. Yeah, we did win. And we went out.
Dontrell Moore free again. Out to the 44-yard line. A gain of 22.
Well, again, this Dontrell Moore is going to go and he's going to thank his O-lineman. Nothing fancy here, guys. Just a straight handoff. Lead block. Lineman just moving everybody out of the way. The Colorado State D-line is just getting pushed. They're not holding their ground. They're not able to come off of blocks. They're not using their hands well enough. And Moore continues to cut back.
Yeah, and so far, Colorado State hasn't figured it out. I mean, if he's going to cut back, you have to play for the cutback and be patient and don't overrun into a gap.
189 yards rushing now for Moore. That's a career high. He's likely to go over 200 tonight. He's out to the 47 where Jamal Hall made the tackle. Career high 192 now. It's 7 straight games at home in which he's gone over 100 yards rushing. And gentlemen, this is the first time in New Mexico's 105-year history, not all of it an illustrious history by their own admission, that they've scored 30 points or more in 5 straight games.
Well, they were looking for exposure, national television. They're putting points on the board. They're getting some good exposure. They have center stage tonight.
They continue to win. They likely will be on more in the future. Kelly kept it, then got dropped for a loss by Chris Kiffin. He's had a nice game tonight. He's ordinarily reserved, but has been on a couple of tackles for a loss.
That's Monty Kiffin's son, the coordinator, D coordinator at the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Again, Monty Kiffin and Sonny Lubick, very good friends, where Sonny Lubick is implementing the cover 2 defense, got from Monty Kiffin years ago. And they need to rotate in these D linemen, and not a lot are having success tonight.
Well, Monty Kiffin and Sonny Lubick are such good friends. They talk almost daily.
Sonny Lubick needs his defense to hold here and get the ball back. Nearing 6 minutes left in the third. A draw. Conservative play call. You can understand why they would want to keep handing it to number 22, Dontrell Moore. He's out to the 41, and they will punt. for just the second time tonight. Andre Summersell made the tackle on Moore on the third down play.
But they want to hold on to the ball. I talked about all the rushing attempts in the first half, but they only had the ball for, I don't even think, a minute more than Colorado State did in the first half. So they're really looking to change that around, as Dave Ryan talked about.
Colorado State is 2 plays away from being right back in this thing.
Both of them touchdowns.
Yeah, those would be those 2 plays.
Oh, trouble with the snap. And the special teams woes continue. Colorado State, regardless of who comes up with the football, is going to get possession of the ball at the 38-yard line of New Mexico. Jeff Flora trying to rip it away from the punter, Tyler Goss. So a big break for the Rams, and they need one, down by 2 touchdowns here in the third.
Over. Let's go back to this mistake here, Mike. How does this happen? I've never seen this play. It looks like it was just a...
Yeah, it just slipped out of his hand. He had 2 hands on the ball, and he lifted it, took it off the ground, and it looked like it slipped out of his right hand, and he ended up almost like throwing it into the ground.
A shank snap by Martin Lovato. He's a veteran snapper in his 3rd year as the snapper. Almost to the point where you wonder if the defense interfered with them. They're complaining to the officials. You wonder if somebody across the line from Lovato touched the ball or did something to disrupt it.
Well, you could see on the replay that he picked it up cleanly, and it didn't look like anybody touched it.
No, it didn't at all. He just looked like slipped, like I said, slipped out of his hand. He threw it into the ground.
That was bizarre, to say the least. And they're going to let him punt it over again. So I have no idea what happened here, boys. There must have been a penalty that was not announced. There was no announcement during that entire timeout about why this is a do-over. We'll get Dave Ryan on the case down there.
Dave, go run on the field and find out what happened.
Well, it was a 5-yard penalty against New Mexico, so apparently it was something before the snap. Maybe there was movement before the snap, or the play clock expired, so that the shank snap didn't count. Better effort that time, and a booming punt by Tyler Goss, and the fair catch made by Wynn. A 46-yard punt, and Lovato is breathing a lot easier.
Well, again, watch him pick the ball up, and it looks like it slipped out of his right hand and in the ground. Again, I have no idea. We never saw a flag, never saw anything. And he's the center. Once he starts it, he's starting to play.
Now, we've all seen bad snaps, but that might rank as the worst.
Yeah, that was ugly.
It doesn't matter. And instead of having the ball at the 38-yard line, they're back on their own 13 and deeper than that now. Van Pelt could not get away from Sidney Wiley, the strong safety.
Boy, they love bringing people, don't they, Rod? I mean, it's what a again, as a defensive player, you love this because you up the middle, outside, 2 guys, 3 guys, crisscrossing. You're doing everything you can to confuse. And here we talked about earlier in the game, Van Pelt was shaking that. Here, Wiley did a great job hanging on.
On 2nd and 14, Van Pelt running out of time, throws too low to the far sideline. Let's check in with Dave Ryan.
Sean, very special guest is Craig Thompson, the commissioner of the Mountain West Conference. There was talk, Craig, this week about expansion. 8 schools in your league. How will that benefit the Mountain West?
Well, I think we're looking at the national landscape. Something like 20 institutions have moved leagues in the last couple of months, and we're looking at market share and what it may bring to us in terms of BCS postseason access.
Very big meeting with BCS and non-BCS presidents, November 16th, coming up in New Orleans. How can that benefit a league like yours?
Well, we hope there's going to be change. I think there's been good dialogue. The presidents are talking, commissioners. We're very excited about that meeting on the 16th, and hopefully can craft a change in the BCS structure.
Thanks for your time, Craig.
Thank you.
Another excellent throw by Van Pelt, and they get out of the hole on 3rd down and 14. The pass complete to Anderson for 26 yards. He beat Gabriel Fulbright in coverage, and they're out at the 36 with a 1st and 10.
Well, great throw, but look at one of the big differences. Nobody is coming at him and hitting him. They came from the outside a little bit, but he had room to step into the throw. That's something he hasn't had. There have been those red jerseys all over him tonight.
And a nice performance out of his receiver, Anderson, catching the ball. That was not a drop by anybody this time.
Into the conversation with Craig Thompson, we reflect back to the beginning of the telecast. A very important game for these two teams in the conference standings. And with an eye on a bowl bid, Van Pelt seems to have another first down across the 45-yard line. This conference has just 3 bowl tie-ins. The Las Vegas Bowl, which you'll see here on ESPN on December 24th. The AXA Liberty Bowl on December 31st, also on ESPN. And the Diamond Walnut San Francisco Bowl on December 31st. So only 3 of these teams are likely to go bowling. When you look at the overall records, all of them have a chance to be bowl eligible, including San Diego State there at the bottom, only 1 game under 500 overall.
And that's why New Mexico says they need this game so badly, because again, they talk about the national rep of Colorado State. They would have to get Colorado State chosen over them because of their reputation.
Van Pelt throws to Anderson, open again. And out of bounds with another first down at the 30-yard line. That's a gain of 24. We talked about perhaps going outside and using those weapons, Pittman and Anderson, and Anderson's been wide open several times.
Rod, you're a defensive back. They're throwing it to Anderson all the time. What are you talking about back there? I mean, is there conversations? This is the guy they're going to. I mean, we need to do something to stop this guy.
Yeah, but actually the discussion would be more about that kind of action. You know, when they do a boot that way, there's only 1 or 2 routes. There's an out route and a go route. And so they ought to be prepared in playing that.
Van Pelt, quarterback draw. Dragging tacklers with him down to the 24-yard line. Nick Spiegel jumped on for the ride and finally got Van Pelt down to the ground.
Let me go back a moment to what Craig Thompson was talking about with dialogue and change.
Right.
We've seen the dialogue be there to try and institute something on a positive front, but there's also that stick that they've been using, hints about, well, if there's not a change for the non-BCS conferences, they may resort to legal action.
I have a feeling that there's going to have to be some kind of a change that's going to appease them, be it another bowl or some other tie-in where they have a little more access to the bowls and, at the end of the day, the money.
Van Pelt had to get it off, found Anderson, managed to stay on his feet, and then went down at the 16-yard line. Billy Strother got enough of Anderson to trip him up. First down, Colorado State, eyeing a touchdown that would get them within a touchdown, an 8-yard gain.
Well, here we go again with Anderson. Jose Lewis, the defensive coordinator, is Gotta think about stopping number 4 and number 11. They're killing him. 11 running or throwing it to number 4. It's a 2-man game right now.
Well, yeah, they've got to get pressure, but as you pointed out earlier, when they bring the pressure, guys are breaking down and they're being a little bit hesitant, and that's just enough time to allow Van Pelt to do something. He can get out, or he can make it by making a nice throw.
Timeout, Colorado State. Anderson with all 4 of his catches here in the 3rd quarter. New Mexico leading by 2 touchdowns, but Colorado State on the move.
Sunday. ESPN2's College Football Friday. Brought to you by Bowflex, the choice of professionals. Visit Bowflex on the web at bowflexendzone.com. And by Master and Commander, the year's most anticipated motion picture, starring Russell Crowe, November 14th.
Back here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, College Football Friday on ESPN2. The 2 highest scoring teams in the Mountain West Conference, putting a lot of points on the board tonight. And New Mexico leading. They've lost the last 5 head-to-head in this rivalry with Colorado State. 1st and 10 from just outside the 15-yard line. Almost a traffic jam with 3 men in motion. And the handoff goes to Oldest Yanarice, the first time he's carried tonight, and taken down for no gain by Billy Strother. Let's get a clarification on that bizarre snap from Dave Ryan.
Yeah, Sean, word from the New Mexico coaches who spoke directly with the on-field officials. It turns out the long snapper here, as you can see in the replay, Martin Lovato, will snap off the foot of a Colorado State defender right at the line of scrimmage. Now the question is, was the CSU defender into the neutral zone and offsides there? But because it hit the foot, dead ball procedure call going 5 yards against New Mexico.
For an illegal snap, so the ball becomes dead right away. This looks like a pass. It is. Pittman wanted to throw it back to Van Pelt. Pittman stays on his feet and finally gets taken down at the 12-yard line by Terrell Golden.
Smart play, because that was going nowhere. That was going absolutely nowhere. Pittman knew it, and he pulled it down. It's going to come out here. The quarterback's going to go right here, but you're going to see the defenders all hanging around. So Pittman's going to see it's not going to be there. The guys are just laying low, laying low. That was no way going to work. Good job by Pittman pulling it down and getting a little bit.
10th play of the drive. It started at their own 13-yard line. Van Pelt gets buried. 4th sack of the night. And it was Daniel Kegler, the senior from Frostproof, Florida, who dropped him for a loss back to the 17-yard line. They sacked Van Pelt only once in the game last year and only once in the game 2 years ago. They put him on the ground 4 times for sacks tonight.
Feel free to block him. You know, it was supposed to be a quick throw. That was supposed to be a 3-stepper and throw. And once the throw wasn't there, that's where Van Pelt needs to learn.
Yeah.
Someone's going to be hit.
Babcock, a 34-yard attempt. And it is good. He's 4 for 4 tonight. Has connected from 22, 24, 40, and now 34.
You know, Mike, that was the first time I think we've seen a blatant error by Van Pelt. I mean, 3-step, he's got to know. 3-step, if it's not there, hey, the way he moves, run, take off.
You have to know the protection going on in front of you. You have to know where you're sliding, where the block's coming from, and it's going to be a quick route. And if it's not there, you've got to know somebody's bearing down on you.
So under a minute left in the third quarter now. Van Pelt and the Rams back within 11 points. And he's all fired up, as he usually is.
I'm going to tell you what, he's got to need an ice bath after every game, for he takes so many hits, and he delivers some hits as well.
He plays with so much passion.
He is something else.
Seems less than pleased about something right now. Hard to determine what that is.
Oh, he's not one who would be politically correct on the sideline.
No, he's not. And you know what? You want your quarterback to be the man. You want him to be the leader. He has no problem trying to put that team on his shoulders and carry him.
You're speaking with Matt Lubick, the receivers coach, who's the son of head coach Sonny Lubick. Kickoff into the end zone will come out to the 20, but first let's check in with Reese.
All right, Sean, again, our high school showcase, the #1 team in the state of Nevada, Las Vegas. They are in the dark uniforms, taking on Basic out of Henderson. And Basic getting it done with the Montanos. Chris with a 30-yard run here. Montano, still close enough to be a good name for a quarterback. Chris Montano to A.J. Montano, his brother. 20-7 Basic on top.
I don't know. You say Montano. We say Montana.
The brother connection, too.
Yeah.
Another excellent run. And it just now comes to an end. It looked like they had Dontrell Moore stuffed at the line. Instead, he goes for 19 before Ben Stratton made the tackle. That's going to send Dontrell well over 200 yards, up to 214.
Ben Stratton, glad to meet you, Dontrell Moore.
Oh, again, the line, guys, is unreal how they are just mowing people down.
Look at how he protected the ball, too. He certainly has those fumbles on his mind. 2 hands on the ball. He hasn't slowed him down. Those extra precautions. He'd only lost 1 fumble all year before losing 3 in the last 2 games. Kelly with time has his man, Terrence Thomas, into CSU territory at the 46-yard line. Dexter Wynn made the tackle. They haven't asked Kelly to do much, guys, but he's done a very nice job managing the game, on target when he has thrown. He's picked a couple of good times to run as well.
Well, and he's reading things very well. When he sees the 8-man front and the coverage, he's got the right play going.
Well, the passes are a breeze when you're running the ball the way you are. Then you play action, so they get out of there in their zone coverage, and you just stop your route right underneath the linebackers.
They're 15 minutes away from ending their losing streak against Colorado State after 3 quarters, 31-20, New Mexico.
Yeah.
214 yards rushing for Dontrell Moore. He has scored 3 touchdowns, and after 3 quarters, New Mexico leads Colorado State 31-20, and they have it 1st and 10 at the CSU 46-yard line. Sean McDonough with Mike Golick, Rod Gilmore, and Dave Ryan. J.C. Kelly, 8 out of 10 passing. Hands it off to Moore for a short gain. Kelly, the quarterback, came here as a walk-on, not highly recruited. He was a recruited baseball player, was an all-state first baseman and pitcher in high school in Portland, Oregon, had a scholarship offer to play baseball at the University of Portland, was drafted in the 32nd round out of high school by the Colorado Rockies, but really wanted to play football. Sent some tapes down here. They invite him to come walk on. He paid his own way here for 2 years. Said he thought he could compete at this level, but never imagined he'd be the starting quarterback for 2.5 years. And he has been. He's already graduated, working toward his MBA now. The late pitch and a good one to Moore. He's out of bounds with another first down at the 33-yard line, shoved out by Drew Wood. A gain of 12. Last year they had Larry Kroom of UNLV run for 222 against the Rams, and Moore just surpassed that. He's up to 227.
Watch Adrian Byrd, the lead back here, 44. Great chop block to free up Kelly. It was on Jeff Flora, the block. Excellent lead block. You know, we're talking a lot about Moore, obviously, in case you runs, but you can't give enough credit to this fullback and this offensive line. But guys, we're talking about 214 yards after 3 quarters.
That is unreal.
It's amazing.
Adrian Byrd, the fullback, leading the way for Moore. He almost broke that one. It was Drew Wood again who managed to get him on the ground. Woods had a good night. He was an academic All-American last year, 3.63 in psychology. Also a great student, Reese Davis.
Sean, I had to study hard to make it, and Las Vegas studied hard, found some weaknesses coming on the comeback trail against Basic. That's Las Vegas, the #1 team in the state of Nevada. Jamal Lomax ripping off a 38-yard run, barely kept his feet inside the 10. That set up Jacob Robinson on a 4th and goal. #1 team in the state coming back.
They're not #1 for nothing. Making the comeback.
Moore carries again. And I believe he's just short of the first down. He is outside the 23-yard line. Brian Sade made the tackle. Third down and less than a yard.
Are you surprised at how effective Moore has been? I mean, given everything we knew about him and his cutback ability in Colorado State, I mean, to me, it's clear Eric Polley missing from that defense really hurts Colorado State.
It absolutely does, but I've liked Moore. I like the way he runs, but with the fumble issues, no coaches like that. Is there any doubt in the stadium who's getting the ball right here?
No. He didn't get the first down. He slipped, it appeared, while taking the handoff, and Jamal Hall got a piece of him as well. Might have been a little bit of a loss on the play. Well, you got a field goal kicker who's made 11 straight. And as an injured player, to give Brocky Long a little bit of time to think about what he should do here. A field goal would get them back to a 2-touchdown lead.
Be about a 41-yarder, and Zunker has made 48-yarder this year.
That's his longest of the season. His career long is 51. He's only missed 1 field goal all year, and that was a 49-yarder that hit the upright.
Points? You make it points?
I would kick the field goal. If you have a kicker who's had the kind of year that this young man has.
I would agree. Put you
up 14. By 2 touchdowns.
All right.
All right. I go along with you guys.
What a unanimous opinion. This is a third. All of a sudden, it's a love fest up here.
This is just wrong.
Won't last.
And I bet there will not be unanimous opinion on game day. Built by the Home Depot. Chris, Lee, and Kirk continue their 10th season of College Game Day with a visit to The great city of Pittsburgh. They'll get you set up for all today's big games, including our primetime game Saturday night, Virginia Tech and Pittsburgh. Later that night, 7:45 Eastern.
Will Lee put on the Hokie hat or the Panther hat?
I think he'll put on the Hokie hat.
Where does he get those hats?
Oh, probably has a maid. Maybe at Home Depot.
I think that's a pretty well-kept secret.
41-yard field goal try. Is good. So that's 12 in a row for Zunker. He just did get it inside the upright. They had kicking issues here last year, but not this season. As Zunker, who was injured, has returned to action and done a great job. A 2-touchdown lead for the Lobos. Well, it's on the shoulders of Bradley Van Pelt in the Colorado State offense now with 12 minutes and change remaining. Colorado State, the preseason favorites to win the Mountain West Conference, in danger of losing their second in a row and falling to 5-5 overall and 2-3 in conference. Down by 2 touchdowns. Again, the pop-up kickoff comes down short to David Anderson, and he runs it back to the 33. Here's Reese Davis.
Sean, what was it Golick said about the #1 team in Nevada, the Las Vegas Wildcats, in our high school showcase game? Las Vegas in black against Basic out of Henderson. They're down 6 when Jamal Lomax again is loose and again is inside the 10. And just as Vegas did on the last drive, they give it to Jacob Robertson in short yardage. Missed the PAT, not sound in the kicking game, but we are tied at 20.
Can't count those guys out. Can't count these guys out. Right. Top
The
teams
PA
come
guy
back.
in the background, he was very excited. What a homer. I assume that was a home game there for Las Vegas.
But you know something? If we can be sound in the kicking game at this level, they can do it in high school, right? Sound in the kicking game.
Absolutely.
All right.
How are we being sound in the kicking game up here?
Well, we're encouraging people to be sound.
We're saying good kick.
We don't accept bad kicks. We don't accept poor special teams play.
Well, how about the interesting, speaking of kicking, stories on the New Mexico team? We mentioned the kicking problems last year. For much of the year, their kicker was Kenny Bird, who had to be talked onto the football team by Casey Kelly, the quarterback. Casey Kelly is going to marry Kenny Bird's sister, Kristen, next December. Kenny Bird was a soccer player, but Casey said, we need a kicker, come kick, so he was the kicker. And of course, they have Katie Nida in the program,
right,
who became the first woman to participate in a Division I-A game when she kicked in the Las Vegas Bowl and an extra point block last year. Then she became the first woman to score when she kicked 2 extra points in their big win in the season opener against Texas State San Marcos. Some interesting
See if she gets a chance to.
Who knew?
Yeah, see if she gets a chance to kick tonight.
I don't think so.
Well, I'm sure New Mexico would love to give her a chance to kick tonight. That means they would be up a bit.
Well, the more important question is, can Van Pelt bring his team back?
After the fake, he throws and has a man open. Pittman hangs on to this one. And he's all the way to the 44-yard line of New Mexico. Brandon Payne made the tackle.
That was strength because the rush was coming. He was actually going backward. But again, at 6'3", 2 1/4, look at he's leaning backward, throwing while he's going backward and gets the ball out there a good distance.
Well, you see they're starting to move him some to get him away from pressure, too. Get him outside where he can have some time and some room and a choice to run and throw. Great decision there, Pittman down the field.
First catch for Pittman, who's had a few drops tonight. He had 9 last week in their loss at Wyoming. He's had 4 100-yard receiving games this season. But a rough night tonight, got a little bit better on a 24-yard game.
Yeah, but you know it's not over. And guys like this just overcome these bad starts. If he can overcome the bad start and have a big fourth quarter, Colorado State can get back in this ballgame.
Oh, without a doubt. Then they're definitely going to need their defense to step up. They've given up 34 already.
Well, they need something out of this drive. Yeah. They've got to get more than just a field goal. They've had a couple drives, stall out, kick the field goal. They need to get in the end zone.
They're having issues with the clock. That's the reason for the stoppages here. While they try to solve the problem, let's check in with Dave Ryan.
Well, talking about Katie Nida, who started kicking a long time ago, guys. She's from outside of Denver and been playing football for 9 years now, starting way back in about junior high. She never played soccer, though, was a football kicker. She started her college career at Colorado. She dressed for the bus but never appeared in a game and sent tape to New Mexico. Coach Rocky Long assumed he was looking at a young man on tape, was very impressed, and Katie has brought this program a lot of attention. And teammates told us yesterday, talking to guys like Casey Kelly, that at first it may have been distracting, but now she fits in very well. Just another Lobo.
She is a delightful young lady.
Yeah, she is. It certainly seems odd, though, seeing a woman on the sidelines in a football uniform. It does seem odd.
Van Pelt saw trouble coming. And wow, what a block. As David Anderson came back and laid out, I believe it's Billy Struther, who's still down at the 41-yard line. And Van Pelt turned a certain loss into a 9-yard gain. And Struther helped off the field after the block by Anderson.
Just watch for Anderson coming back. Forget about this. This is a huge hit. Watch for number 4 on the right of your screen coming back in right about now.
Oh, well, that's when you're running, you're so focused on the target, especially Van Pelt. They want to bring this guy down. He has no idea Anderson's coming after him.
Well, we mentioned earlier the defensive coaches want Anderson on defense because he's so tough. Here's an example of his ability to hit. Van Pelt thought about taking the knee and then said, forget about it, I can get a gain. They'll probably take the penalty because he gained 4, and the penalty yards give him 5 and a first down.
Okay. Kyle Coulter right over the ball. Jumped. Again, as soon as he's in the neutral zone, the center's going to snap it.
Dead ball, offsides, defense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Gotta love a good hit, guys, so why don't we take a look at it again. Again, you see Struther, he's zeroing in.
Wow.
On Van Pelt, and Anderson does exactly what you're supposed to do. You come back and you help out, and that's when you get those kind of blocks.
Well, they call Struther, the training staff in New Mexico, they call him Billy Saturday because he's always in the training room all week with a lot of aches and pains. And then on Saturday, he's able to miraculously go out there and play. I think he might spend some time in the training room again this week.
On the ice tub.
1st and 10 from the 31. 11 and a half remaining. Van Pelt took a snap that appeared to float back to him, and he might take it to the house. He's pushed out inside the 5-yard line. They'll mark him out at the 3. A 28-yard gain, 1st and goal for the Rams.
Two players here with an opportunity coming right here to get him, and he breaks right through him. And this is what we talked about. You got to have the ability to break down if you can. You get a little bit of a slip by Goransky, but you got 2 coming and 1 blocker. You should be able to get him.
That is a design play. Empty backfield. They are turning him into the running back there. That's intentional, and it works.
1st and goal from the 3. 107 yards rushing now for Van Pelt. He bounces off the pile and never did really get his balance back. Sidney Wiley with the tackle. A loss of 1 on the play, but still a 100-yard plus rushing game for Van Pelt.
Well, you've heard about the 3 tight end set. Here's the 4 tight end set, and that is a lineman. That is Josh Day in the backfield. And you talk about a heavy formation. That's a real heavy formation. 3 tight ends, and then you bring this guy in, and he goes at 280 pounds.
That blocker's in front of you. Unfortunately, it didn't work this time.
And he's still in there. He's on the left side now.
They sent Joel Dreesen in motion. They didn't even think he'd play with an abdominal injury. Van Pelt has it dropped. It was intended for Matt Bartz, the tight end. Daniel Goransky had the coverage. This 100-yard rushing game for Van Pelt, by the way, is his 4th of the season and 9th of his career.
Well, that's got to be at least the 4th or 5th drop we've seen by Colorado State receivers tonight.
With this much time left, 10:34, is this 4-down territory? Would you be content to kick a field goal if you got stopped?
Nope, I go for touchdown.
I'd kick the field goal.
Well, they hope it doesn't get to 4th down in that decision. 3rd and goal from the 4. Van Pelt Throws it back for Lyman. That's a live ball. What a disastrous play. He threw it over the head of Jamie Amicarella. Amicarella had no chance to catch that. You wonder if he was going to throw the ball. He certainly wasn't going to run it in from the 14-yard line.
He was going to get nowhere near running it in from there. And now, boy, does that make the decision. Now you think you want to kick this thing, huh?
That's really a terrible play. And you have to really question the call.
Well,
and you're throwing it back to a lineman.
Well, and the thing that's even worse about it is that when you have a guy like Van Pelt, give him a chance to make a play for you.
Now I think you have to kick the field goal, don't you? 10.5 minutes to go.
Yeah. This far back, I would.
And now you guys agree with me.
Now back on the 15-yard line.
This is 4th and goal.
Not the 5.
And you probably didn't fake anybody out with the play-action fake either. Throws to the end zone. Touchdown, as we said. Go for that end zone, baby. David Anderson with the score.
Wait a minute. Did they point it? Yeah, they gave it to him. Look at that. There was one official who was running right at the foot marker at the line trying to spot it at the foot line.
Now he was in the end zone.
He was definitely
I thought he was in, but there was one official who was trying to have it called on the foot line.
Wow. Gutsy calls it, and Van Pelt took an absolute shot when he threw that
maybe
ball.
on that previous play they said, let's just go back to the 15 so we have more room for our passing game. Extra point up and good. What a big play that is. And now the pressure on the Lobos. They see their lead shrink to 7 points with a lot of time left. And they're tending to Van Pelt on the sideline. 7-play drive, 68 yards. Van Pelt the touchdown pass to Anderson. They're on their knees but still alive. Well, certainly a bizarre route to the end zone for Colorado State. 3rd and goal from the 4 turned into 4th and goal from the 15. They decided to go for the end zone, and it paid off as Van Pelt threw his first touchdown pass of the night. Van Pelt is now thrown for 173 and rushed for 94.
Every time we thought Sonny Lubick should go one way on a decision, he's gone the other and hit it every time.
Well, sometimes you get lucky.
He's one of the great coaches of his time.
Sometimes you get lucky.
I think you could question really those decisions.
Well, I question that play call.
The play call on 3rd down was bizarre, to say the least.
The throwback here to Jamie Amicarella.
This is 3rd down.
This is mind-boggling. 3rd down at the 4, and you're throwing back to your lineman. Now, I don't know if he's going to run it or if he's going to throw it because it's a backward pass.
Well, he was going to have to throw it because there's no way he was going to run it in.
But then, you know, Van Pelt hangs in there.
And Anderson catches this ball. Now, remember, it doesn't matter where Anderson is. It's the ball. And the ball broke the plane, so it's a touchdown.
Van Pelt took a beating after that throw as well.
And now you wonder about the mindset of the Lobos. They're almost obsessed with beating Colorado State. These seniors have not done it. There's Kelly, one of those seniors, desperate for a victory over CSU. Out to the 26. Here's Reese Davis.
All right, Sean, must be a night for comebacks. Las Vegas in our high school showcase game of the week, taking on Basic out of Henderson. This is Las Vegas in the dark uniform. Jeremy Craddock to Christian Vidal. Vidal scores Sassoon. Once down 20-7, now up 27-20.
I still love the PA guy there.
I love high school football.
And not too far from Las Vegas, we're in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Sean, Rod, Mike, and Dave. Highly entertaining game as anticipated here in the Mountain West. Kelly running the option. He gets dropped for a loss. Back at the 24-yard line. Lavelle Mann, the defensive tackle. Senior from Long Beach, California, with a nice play.
2 good plays back-to-back of single tackles. The first one in the option when Kelly kept it. It was Jeff Flora, a linebacker. This time Lavelle Mann. Good job. Something that they haven't done a good job of tonight.
Well, and they really haven't forced New Mexico to be in 3rd and long situations and put pressure on Kelly to make a good pass. Now 3rd and 6. This is really the first time they've had him in a tough throwing situation.
And a very important 3rd down with the momentum clearly on the side of Colorado State. And history on their side as well, and a disaster for Kelly. had nowhere to throw it and gets sacked for the first time tonight. Andre Summersell, the senior from Fountain Valley, California, credited with the sack back at the 19-yard line.
He's been winning that matchup outside whenever they've had the chance in the passing situation. Hard to keep him out of the backfield with his speed coming off the corner.
Boy, they needed a big stop, and they got it there.
Here's Tyler Goss to punt. His third punt of the night. Plenty on that snap from Lovato. Dexter Wynn catches it at the 36. And returns it to the 41. 45-yard punt and a 6-yard return. Back onto the field, Bradley Van Pelt and the CSU offense down by 7.
ESPN2's College Football Friday, brought to you by SSX3. This time, it's you against the mountain. And by Seiko. You can tell more about a person from the watch they wear than anything else. Seiko Kinetic.
Colorado State on the comeback trail. They've won 5 in a row and 8 of the last 9 head-to-head with New Mexico. The Lobos haven't defeated the Rams here in Albuquerque since 1988, when they scored on the final play of the game to win. Momentum clearly on the side of the Rams. Bradley Van Pelt taking a lot of hard hits tonight. He was over 100 yards rushing until they credited him with lost yardage on that backward pass intended for the offensive lineman. Now Rashawn Sanders carrying for just the 11th time tonight. He had 10 carries for 14 yards before that carry. He got 5 there. Let's check in with Dave Ryan.
Sean, I don't think there's any question Bradley Van Pelt is going to be sore tomorrow, the next day, and the next day after that when he gets back to Fort Collins after taking that huge hit on the touchdown pass to Anderson earlier in this fourth quarter. He took a shot to the chest. Trainers say he's sore, but he's okay. He's taking an absolute beating, guys, in the field level in this game tonight, both running and staying back in the pocket. He's so tough, he stays there to the last possible second.
2nd and 5. Here comes a New Mexico blitz. Man open is Eric Hill, and he's chopped down at a good open field tackle at the 49-yard line. If Gabriel Fulbright didn't get him on the ground, there was plenty more running room for Eric Hill.
That's exactly right, and Fulbright made a tremendous tackle. Hill is a guy who in the past has had trouble hanging on to the ball. He's got great speed, but he makes a nice catch here. And if Fulbright doesn't make this tackle, you're right, Sean, he goes a long way. Hill does.
Now a 3rd down and 2. And the crowd trying to cheer on this defense. It's a crowd, amazingly, that has dwindled in number here in the 3rd and 4th quarters. That pass caught, but it's no gain, maybe even a loss. Nice play by Jarrell Malone coming up from his corner. And that was a loss of a yard on the completion to Pittman.
Now, there's got to be no doubt here. You have to punt the ball.
I agree with you.
You have to punt the ball. There's 6 minutes to go in the game. Your defense just had a 3-and-out. You got to play field position.
But they're not going to, and you know it's going to work out for Sonny Lubick. It's been his night.
Oh, my gosh. I think they're going to.
I am shocked that you would say that. I thought you would definitely want to go for it.
No.
Too much time left.
Absolutely. You have to kick this ball away.
Wow. You think they'll go for the offsides? They've got it a couple times tonight.
I think they will.
Watch the interior line. If that interior line crosses, they're going to call a timeout.
Yeah, they took a long time to get up to the line. They have just 1 timeout left.
You see, I wouldn't have taken that timeout. I would have taken the penalty instead.
Yep.
And then punted.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Timeout, 5:47 remaining. Will they go for it on 4th down when we come back? Well, no change, of course, for Sonny Lubick during the timeout. They are going to go for it on 4th down and 3. 5:47 left. The Rams down by a touchdown at their own 48-yard line.
Well, if I'm going for it, I want the ball in the hands of Van Pelt.
Nobody else.
Tight formation for the Rams. And 9 men up near the ball for New Mexico. They're going to throw with a blitz coming. He got it off to Anderson. Down the sideline and out of bounds with a 1st down. Sonny Lubick, go buy a lottery ticket, pal. This is your night.
He just lives right.
Got to be kidding me.
He just lives right.
You know what? And what a great call, because you knew New Mexico was coming after him. Let everybody rush up. You clear out, and you just cut across on a drag.
But how great a route was that by Anderson?
Yep.
He had to come all the way across the field from that short post position. And Van Pelt hung in there long enough to get the ball out there to him.
Wow.
They're 3 for 3 on 4th down tonight. 11 of 16 on the year. 17-yard gain. Sends Anderson over 100 yards receiving for the 5th time this season. All of it in the second half. 5 100-yard games in a season ties the CSU record for receivers.
Please reset the clock to 5 minutes, 39 seconds.
You know, I think they ought to take that 4th down offense and move it up to like 2nd down and use it then.
Boy, oh boy.
Outside the lines, Knightley coming up next. Rocky Long in a hang-on mode right now.
Do you think he's enjoying this? He told us last week's loss down to the minute. He said, but you know, it was a great game. He's got a great one tonight.
Well, last week in a great game that was decided by 2 points, a lot of their fans left. And when you look at the stands again tonight, it's amazing. There are many more empty seats than we had here earlier. Almost every seat was full. That's far from the case now. And as we look to the Rams, we can see people continuing to leave the stadium. Wow! What a hit delivered by Daniel Goronsky, the middle linebacker. Dropped Sanders.
This is how you draw up a tackle right here. Great place, a quarterback draw. You pull the line through.
Or rather, Van Pelt, excuse me, had the ball.
Look at this. I mean, you drive your face mask through the running back's chest.
You can't do it better. He beat the block and then formed up. It was great.
.22 carries for Van Pelt, the most he's ever had in the game. He zips one to a wide open Anderson inside the 10 and down at the 8-yard line.
And Sean, we talked earlier about the empty backfield set and how much pressure that puts because they can run or throw. Look, no back, that's an H-back. He's going to block. Now, because of that, they're forcing man coverage because they have such a running threat. You get 8 men up in the box. You've got Anderson singled up, and he just loses the corner inside.
Fulbright just turned and sprinted. He turned and ran away. Thought it was going to be a go route, turned and took off.
That was a 25-yard gain. What a second half for Anderson. They send the H-back Drayson into motion. And Sanders, the ball carrier, tripped up. Daniel Kegler, the defensive end, made the tackle for a loss back to the 10-yard line.
You think we'll see the throwback down here?
Who knows what we'll see. Whatever we call, Sonny will run something else.
The man is a great coach. Not enough people around America who follow football closely know enough about Sonny Lubick and the job he has done here. He is just a great coach with an excellent staff. This might be a throw, but the defense was in quickly, and as a result, Sanders takes it down to the 3-yard line, just inside the 3, where Goronsky made the tackle with help from Sidney Wiley.
Yeah, that pitch was too quick. I think it was going to be a throw, Rod.
Yeah, and Van Pelt couldn't get out.
Yep.
As Sean pointed out, the defense stopped him as he tried to curl out. And then Sanders did the right thing. Just tucked the ball and went.
Big lineman in there again.
3rd and goal from the 2. You think it's safe to say if they get stopped, they will not kick a field goal?
Yeah.
Van Pelt runs the option with Sanders behind. Van Pelt down to the 1. 4th and goal from the 1 with a touchdown, an extra point to tie.
Wow. What a game.
Well, you got to go for this one.
Oh.
Hey, it's College Football Friday. This has become unbelievable. Every Friday night we have one of these.
Fantastic. Now, here's the play. Again, you have to run a play, in my opinion, that has Van Pelt part of it. Somehow, some way, optioning out rolling where he has the option to do what he wants to do.
Drayson again, moved out of the backfield. All out blitz. Van Pelt. Touchdown! They had every member of that defense chasing after Bradley Van Pelt, and they still couldn't get him.
I'm still amazed he hung on to it, Ronnie. The pitch man could have walked in as well.
He wasn't going to take a chance. Man.
Well, he is Mr. Everything.
I like the way he kept his composure when they were down by a lot.
Yep.
And threw his team back into this game.
Wow, that extra point wasn't good by much. Babcock threw his hands in the air almost as if he was pleading with the officials to throw their arms in the air and call it good.
Again, you have to do this. He has to be part of the play. He has to have the option to keep it. Everybody's trying to get out there. Good job of blocking, and he's going to walk right in.
Well, Billy Strother, number 17 for New Mexico, can't get off the block. He's being held, and that helps out. One of the great holds. It was inside where the hands needed to be, and so Strother couldn't get off to get to
I believe that was
Van Pelt.
Matt Barnes. But you get those hands inside, and they stayed on him.
They were down 31-20 entering this quarter. 34-20 after a field goal, but 2 straight touchdowns. And they're tied with 3:07 to go. And when you're a program like New Mexico, trying to make the hurdle, make the leap to the next level, and one of those obstacles is beating the team that's been the premier team in your conference, Colorado State, which you haven't done with this group of seniors. This has to be the here we go again mentality for the Lobos, doesn't it?
3:07 though, and you got all 3 timeouts. You got to go play to win this game. You have to. You can't try to not make a mistake here to get Colorado State to give them good position. You have to play to win.
Brandon Ratcliffe running back the kickoff, and he does not make the 20.
Talk about playing to win. That man has been playing to win, and he's brought them back in this ball game, not just with his feet, but his arm. Touchdown pass to Anderson. Watch here, a nice 4th down completion to Anderson, and another completion to Anderson once more to set up the touchdown pass. And then on 4th down and go, he waltzes into the end zone with his legs, the arms and legs getting it done. And the surprise is, man, he's throwing like a big-time quarterback.
Amazing.
Such a patient runner. You know, if there was ever an instance to panic, 4th and 1 down by a touchdown, but he waited. Here's Kelly, who's shown some good running ability of his own, carrying the ball out across the 25-yard line for a gain of 7. Andre Summersell made the tackle. 2:45 on the clock running, and all 3 timeouts remaining for UNM. Las Vegas with a 1 touchdown lead in our Friday night high school showcase game.
And they came back from a long ways down.
2nd and 3. Back to Dontrell Moore, and he stopped short of the 1st down. It's another very big 3rd down and short. Jeff Flora led the defensive surge with help from Benny Mastropolo.
Well, Mike, option or more inside?
Well, a half a yard with this big offensive line. I think he can get the 1st down. I think they're going to run it up the gut.
I think they'll take it outside.
I'll go with up the gut. And Moore has the 1st down out to the 30. That's a gain of 3. He's up to 240 or 41 yards, depending on if they give him 2 or 3. They did credit him with a 3-yard gain. 241 yards rushing for Dontrell Moore.
Plenty of time still. $1:46. All 3 timeouts. Remember, just need a field goal.
With a very good field goal kicker.
From about, what, 42, 43 yards on in, he's pretty much money.
They could be a little quicker in and out of the huddle, and up to the line. There's a throw and a drop. Almost an acrobatic catch outstretched. But Rashawn Sanders could not make the catch. And if you're wondering, yes, each team has a Rashawn Sanders. He's a receiver for New Mexico, and the other Rashawn Sanders is the featured running back tonight for Colorado State.
Yep. And he got the wind knocked out of him here as he dove out, landed on his gut. Just let him a little too much. Almost hung on to that ball. But I agree with you, Sean. I mean, just a little more sense of urgency coming out.
It took a long time in that huddle. No sense of we need to pick up the tempo at all. And they don't need to rush it. Didn't need to go no huddle yet, but yeah, just a little more.
Well, but see, their offense isn't one in which they really can come out, do 2-minute fire down the field like that.
And I'm not. I just meant, you know,
just get it out of the huddle.
Just a little more. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll agree with that.
Rams showing blitz on 2nd and 10. And that pass a little bit too hot to handle through the hands of Moore.
If you're calling plays for New Mexico right now offensively, I don't think you have a great deal of confidence that you can throw the ball down the field and not worry about it.
No, I agree with you. I mean, outside of you, we saw the first play of the game when they went down the middle of the field, and it didn't connect.
That's a tough play call right here, because if you do pass and you don't get it, you might stop it. You will stop the clock with an incompletion. You let Colorado State save the timeout and get the ball back with plenty of time.
Unless they throw a short pass to try and run for the first down and don't get it.
They're going to get too deep here.
Long count, and they don't want to risk that throw. They will make them use the timeout. The fans boo that conservative play call. Zunker, the kicker, upset that he doesn't have a chance.
That's playing not to lose.
Yep.
That's playing not to lose.
Well, we talked about it before they called the play. I mean, if you're up there calling the plays and you see the last two plays, you're starting to think, I don't think our passing game is there. I don't want to throw something over the middle that's going to get tipped and picked off and we lose the ball game. I'd rather take my chances in overtime.
See, I don't agree with that. You've lost to this team 8 out of the last 9 times, the last 5 in a row. Play to win the game.
Yeah, but know your personnel.
They've completed 5 and 10, a couple of 5 and 10-yard passes tonight. I think they have the ability to do that.
But they have not completed them when they had to do that.
They did a couple of third downs in the third quarter. They'd run the tight end right to the sticks.
He's 8 for 12 passing. He's a 2.5-year starter with some good receivers.
I disagree.
Were without pressure.
I absolutely disagree. You've got to try and.
Well, then why didn't he call the pass? Obviously, he didn't feel they could do it.
They're playing not to lose.
I have to agree. And what happened to the running game? You know, maybe because Colorado State had the ball so much here in the fourth quarter that they've just lost that rhythm and tempo. But for so long tonight, they were just pounding them on the run, and now they can't get that back. Outside the lines nightly coming up next. You know, the fans booed the play call. A lot of these fans should boo themselves. I can't believe how many people have left this stadium.
I agree.
You know, if the fans want the program to go to the next level, they have to do their part here, too. Some of these folks are really hard on this coaching staff, and they have very short memories about what the history is like here. And then they leave in a nationally televised game that's been terrific. Dexter Wynn returns to the 31. So the Rams have the football with 1:02 left in a tie game and 1 timeout. No timeouts, rather. They just used the last one. They, too, have a very good field goal kicker as we look at the Seiko storyline. Really typical numbers, the kind of numbers you come to expect now from Van Pelt. And a huge night for Dontrell Moore with 242 yards on the ground for New Mexico.
New Mexico just couldn't, at this point, at least anyway, close the deal. And Colorado State, to their credit, no panic. Never panic at all.
Big part of the comeback here in the second half. The 7 catches for Anderson. Van Pelt better just fall on it.
Nope, he didn't get it.
Like New Mexico got it. He was just a little bit casual getting on that ball. Oh, my goodness. New Mexico has it at the 16-yard line. Van Pelt still down.
After all that, after that comeback, this is what it's going to come down to.
Well, it goes back to the point at the very beginning of the show about the snaps. Coulter recovered it, but it's the issue with the center. Last week.
Well,
that's not it. No, that's a good snap. I'm sorry, I take it back. That was a good snap.
Well, he tried to get on it. It just took a couple of bounces that he couldn't corral. And it's Kyle Coulter, who's had a season with a lot of health problems. He sat out in the preseason with an irregular heartbeat. They couldn't figure out why. They finally determined it was related to asthma, but they monitored him very closely during the games. And what a big recovery by the junior from Bixby, Oklahoma. Now they're in chip shot field goal range with a kicker who has made 12 straight.
Wow, and Van Pelt, I think they're looking in maybe the rib area. He got just kind of squashed underneath Colton when he went for the fumble.
Well, the ball just slipped through his hands.
Yeah, it did.
Now, it might have been just a little bit higher than he's accustomed to getting, but it's a ball that he could catch.
Absolutely. You know what? And when this guy has done so much to bring this team back tonight, certainly he's going to just kick himself for that one when he knows he should have had it. But he's the reason they're in the position they are right now, though.
You're wondering why they're disappointing 5-4. That's the 17th lost fumble for Colorado State this year.
And when I say he's in the position they are, I mean 34-34, in a position to go down and win. And it's a tough mistake for him right there.
Now they just want to hang on to the ball, keep it in the middle of the field, and give their kicker Zunkers had an amazing year a chance to win it. Moore over to the right hash mark to the 17-yard line. From here it would be about a 34-yard field goal.
And with Moore's fumbling problems the last few weeks, you know he's been reminded, hang on to the ball.
You're plenty close enough. To me, the quarterback should just run the ball back into the middle of the field or wherever the kicker wants it.
Right.
Wherever he feels most comfortable from an angle, if he wants that, or if he wants it right in the middle, take a knee, get him out there and kick to win the game.
You need to kick it after this play.
They do risk the handoff to Moore. He protects the ball. Well, apparently they want to kick from the right hash mark because they won't run another play. They'll let the clock tick down before they use the timeout. They have all 3 timeouts left. Fans roaring as if New Mexico doesn't know at some point it needs to call a timeout.
See, it's third down. You let some time run off the clock. Bad snap, block kick, ball stays behind the line, you recover it, you leave yourself another opportunity.
So now it's all on Zunker, the junior from New Braunfels, Texas. A program with all kinds of kicking problems last year. Is that anything but this year? 2 for 2 tonight. And now 12 out of 13 for the season, with the only miss that hit the upright from 49 yards. Former walk-on. Was their kicker last year for the first half, and then injured a groin and a quad and did not return. They have had problems on PATs with Zunker, with bad snaps. He's missed 3 PATs this season. 2 of them bad snaps, 1 of them blocked.
But Rocky Long has an awful lot of confidence in him. When he spoke to us yesterday about this young man, he could not have been more glowing about what he expects of him and how good he's been inside of 40, 42 yards.
This to give them their first win in 6 tries against Colorado State. That ball is up, and it is good! A heroic effort by Van Pelt falls just short. New Mexico beats Colorado State 37-34.
That's over in the Red Menace section that the players are jumping into the stands to celebrate with the smart fans at stake. What a great victory for New Mexico, and I hope every Colorado State player makes sure they go over and tell Bradley Van Pelt, you keep your head up, my friend, because he's the reason the game was this close.
He didn't lose the game.
No, he did not. No, absolutely did not.
First win for this senior class against Colorado State. First win for Rocky Long against CSU. And how about Zunker? There was never any doubt for the moment this left his foot.
He's right on. He is just solid.
Rocky Long said his team had to win out to get into a bowl, and they are still in the hunt, still chasing Utah in the Mountain West, and still in position to get to a bowl game. And Van Pelt, so great tonight, Sean.
But you know he's going to dwell on that mishandled snap, and as you said, Mike, that's going to be impossible for him to avoid doing. But if it wasn't for the way he played, they never would have been in position to win the game on the last possession.
But here is a team now that has beaten Colorado State and has beaten Utah. So when they're a bowl-eligible team, they want to get
very much alive now in both the conference race and bowl eligibility. They need to win 7 for the year because they have a 1 AA win. They have games left against Air Force and Wyoming. Need 1 more to be bowl eligible, and Colorado State still needs another win against either San Diego State or UNLV to be bowl eligible. Once again, the final score, 37-34, New Mexico. For Rod Gilmore, Mike Golick, Dave Ryan, and our crew, Sean McDonough saying good night from Albuquerque. Outside the Lines Nightly is next.